feel like your credentials speak for yourself, though. 28 years coaching high school football, and of course a couple of sons who are not too bad at quarterback at Texas. But Brad, obviously this show is about a celebration of high school football. You're going to see 2 live games coming up. I want to know, what is it that you love so much about high school football?
Well, it's just, like we said a while ago, it's more of a lifestyle. I mean, these kids have prepared for this for a long time. Parents, communities, coaches, they're putting everything they can. I get to go work with coaches all over the country, and they're always wanting to know, what's Texas high school football really like? Is it as big as they say? And like I said, it's a lifestyle that these kids pour into, and they want to make a future out of it.
Well, you're going to see a preview show, and then you're going to see the first of these 2 games, which is Shallowater at Idalou. So where is Shallowater and Idalou? If you're not familiar, I am a Lubbock girl, but I remember where these 2 places are.
Lubbock, and they will go through the whole year on who won this game. All
right, up next, Fox Football Friday from right there in Idalou, Texas.
Welcome to the town of Idalou on the plains of West Texas. Historic opening night in the Lone Star, and it starts right now.
Texas Football Days on Fox Sports!
It's a fresh start. It's a new beginning.
All the way through. There's a genuine excitement.
Glad you dressed up. Cameras here looking at you.
First day of pay.
Watch the ball. Watch the ball.
Great challenge ahead of us.
At 10:01, we're in the weight room.
Boys, a winner knows he can't lose.
9-18.
But a loser wonders if he can win.
Flat down that line as fast as I can. Let's go again.
I've never been this thrilled about the start of a season.
Wow, here we go. We're about to get started.
We still got a lot of work to do.
Huge tradition.
Anticipation, butterflies. Come out of the gate running and get it going.
The nerve setting in. Excited. Exciting time of the year.
Not about how you start, it's about how you finish. Seniors this year, last year. Be one that you remember the rest of your life.
Tell you what, who's ready to play after that? I know the Mustangs and the Wildcats are ready to go. A scene from Shallowater's pep rally earlier today. Idalou also rallying for what will be the first ever regular season Friday night football game to be televised live in the state of Texas. Yes, it has never been done before, and we got not one, but we got 2 for you tonight. Lake Travis will meet Converse Judson in the nightcap, but we start with this party here today, a 3A West Texas showdown. Every resident 3 counties wide in the house. There we go. And you know when Fox and the UAL are making history, we got to bring in the big dogs. On my far end, I got former Texas A&M Aggie hailing from Port Arthur Jefferson High, where he was one of Todd Dodge's top targets. Shea Walker, along the coach we call the Cat in the Hat. 12 state championship rings, including this hubcap right here. Longtime head coach, athletic director from Vega, Texas. He's a West Texas boy.
That's
Coach
right.
Ken Purcell in the house. I'm Aaron Hardigan, welcoming you into Fox Football Friday, part of the inaugural Texas Football Days in celebration of opening night across the Lone Star. Lord knows you two have been a part of a lot of opening nights. What's this one mean to you, Coach?
Well, it's a great night in Texas. It always is on opening night. A little bit of a heavy heart tonight because of what's happening in South Texas, but it's time for Texas high school football.
Well, and Coach, I have to add to that, as a former player, I don't know that I could have imagined a setting like this and having an opportunity to play on television in front of all of these people, all this passion in this town and the community, how it's responded to what this game is going to be tonight.
Communities coming together. I love it. We're going to be celebrating that for sure all night. Close to 100 games had been canceled due to the storms, including one of ours, Austin Westlake at Katy. Our reporter Sarah Merrifield was scheduled to cover the game, but we still find her in Katy with the latest from South Texas.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a whirlwind day here in Katy, Texas, but a lot of positive outcomes to come out of today. We had a chance to speak to Lance Hint, superintendent of Katy ISD, earlier today, and he mentioned that school will be starting on September 11th, But next week on Wednesday, they'll be conducting voluntary practices for the football team. So that's a good sign for them getting back to campus in some capacity. They'll also have a few controlled scrimmages before they get back into the season on September 15th. So all good news there, but just because school's not in session doesn't mean these kids aren't heavily involved in what's going on here in Katy. We were at Cinco Ranch earlier, and some of the football players were helping take donations, extra donations from the shelter, and dropping them off at community centers for other shelters in need of them. So just because they're not in class doesn't mean they're not giving back here in Katy. We'll send it back to you.
Great stuff. Thanks so much, Sarah. And if it's one thing we hope we can be for you guys at home tonight, is a small reprieve, a small bit of joy, even if just for a bit, because we know what high school football means to you.
I tell people I remember almost every touchdown I've ever run.
He's fast and he's powerful.
I went down and I just felt this pop.
I knew he was going to the doctor and just kind of had a mama's instinct.
I know Shay had talked about it at the top of the show. High school football is about communities coming together. This game being about more than just football. It's everyone involved with the process. You know that better than anyone.
Well, it really is, Aaron, and you think about this, and Coach Purcell, I know you said you got a little tear in your eye and the hair on your neck was standing up, and how could it not? Knowing what high school football means to this community, to all communities, especially in Southeast Texas, from Corpus to Port Arthur, with all the strife and the heartache that they're going through right now, and to have just a brief respite of something that is woven through the fabric of the communities is high school football.
In fact, I think we're going to roll that one more time. If you thought he had goosebumps before, buckle up.
How do you characterize the identity of a state as vast as Texas? The imagery, the sounds which make it unique. What would you say are the absolutes? The indomitable lone star flapping in the wind. The rhythmic squeal of an oil well pulling crude through the red clay soil. Perhaps it's the domineering visage of the longhorn roaming about. Or quite simply, it's Friday Night Lights.
High school experience can be absolutely character changing.
We got to do what we do. Go run it.
An enormous sense of community through these high school football programs that is unmatched anywhere in America.
Small Texas towns shut down, at 5 o'clock, and everybody goes to the games.
Welcome to Texan Drive Stadium.
It's a community effort. It's not just the football. It's the cheerleaders. It's the moms and dads clubs. It's everybody in town being a part of football, bringing that community together, and it becomes a big deal.
On Friday nights, everybody's at that one activity, and it's an important one. It's high school football.
It's everything.
It's kind of a part of our state's fabric.
Friday Night Lights.
It's kind of the backbone of what makes communities communities.
Pride that's just not explainable.
It's the bloodline of the state of Texas.
You see it in the movies, you read it on TV, but till you're here, you really don't understand it. You really don't have a chance to sense it and feel it.
That high school championship, there's something about that.
This time it's threes on the keeper. A touchdown. Finish the mark.
You play it because you love it, and just those Friday night lights and just the moments.
In this state, high school football is a religion. The stadiums, cathedrals, where our communities come together. And for those lucky enough to step onto the stage under the brightest of lights, it's about a brotherhood that will last a lifetime.
Aaron, after that, my goodness, Coach Purcell asked me if the defibrillator was at the stadium here.
Hey, we got it in the bus back there. We're good. I know that got you rearing to go here, Coach.
No doubt. It's great stuff. Great stuff.
Hey, like we've learned, a lot of great stories to come out of Texas high school football. Up next, be one of the biggest names to come out of Shallowater, and he'll tell you why not to take this game for granted. Next. Fox Football Friday is brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Dairy Queen. For burgers, baskets, blizzards, and Tex-Mex we love, it's Dairy Queen. DQ, that's what we love about Texas. Let's take a look at the visiting town here tonight. Shallowater, located about 12 miles northwest of Lubbock, so making that 20-mile trip straight east across the LBK here to Idalou. How about the name, too? Shallowater attracted settlers and farmers back in the day because you did not have to dig very deep to reach water. Thus, Shallowater, established in 1909. A lot of great names to come out of the town of Shallowater. Eric Morris, one, now offensive coordinator at Texas Tech. In fact, Morris had put up 7 touchdowns in a game against Idalou back in '03. He was pretty good. Another offensive weapon, more recently, running back Jarek Black, who will be the first to tell you not to take this game for granted.
I tell people I remember almost every touchdown I've ever run.
Jarek Black found his way to the end zone a lot for the Mustangs, putting Shallowater on the map of high school football. He was a big fish in a small pond. Population 2,484. And on Friday nights, fans could always count on Black to carry the ball.
I guess if you ask any guy who's considered that guy, it's a great experience. It's a lot of pressure because you're not only just that guy, but you have to be a leader, and I think it's a big responsibility.
He's fast and he's powerful. It was awe almost. Because, I've been raised around football. I love football. And it was just so cool to me that was him, that he was mine.
The biggest star to emerge from the program, Black joined the state's best players his junior year and only improved during his senior season. He recorded 7,078 career yards, setting up a promising career at West Texas A&M. But in the fall of his freshman year, it all changed with a pop.
It was just a simple morning going in and gonna lift 6 a.m. weights, normal squats. And I went down and I just felt this pop and like a surge, electric surge through my legs.
I knew he was going to the doctor and just kind of had a mama's instinct.
He pulled it up, looked at the x-rays, and then looked at me and said, I have to go get you another appointment with a surgeon, and ran out of the room.
I just remember thinking, how, after everything, does it end like this?
In a matter of 5 hours, my whole career was changed.
The x-rays revealed more than just a one-time injury. Jarek learned about an undiagnosed birth defect that left him with a weak spine. And with 12 years of contact football under his belt, doctors say Jarek is fortunate to walk away.
He said, there's no reason why you shouldn't be in a wheelchair right now. He said, it's like your back's broken multiple times. And he said, and you've just been lucky. He said, you've got an angel watching out for you.
I don't know, in many ways, I feel like he was robbed. Because he's a good kid, and he was a great athlete. And he deserved his shot. I wish I'd have known that I was watching him play the last time. And I really wish that I had just really taken advantage of that moment so that I would have known this is the last time I'm going to get to watch him.
Time heals all wounds. And although Jarek will never play football again, time healed his heart to accept the game he loved so dearly back into his life.
Once I realized what I wanted to do with my life, I wanted to be a coach, wanted to help the game and be a part of the game in the way that I can't anymore. That's when I kind of realized, don't be sad about it. Just pick yourself up and keep going.
His attitude and courage through this life-changing experience is what Shallowater honors him by, a hometown hero who faced adversity and persevered.
It was huge for our town to have somebody to kind of rally around that they knew was a good kid. He was just really easy to cheer for.
Now, Jarek cheers from the sidelines at his alma mater, celebrating a team and a sport that made him who he is today.
You know what's great about this story, Coach, is Jarek is now using his platform to send the message, this game is not a right, it's a privilege.
No doubt. The other thing about it is that he has told through his story what Texas high school football is all about. You have ups and downs. You have poise enough to get through those difficult times, and he's exemplified that.
Well, Coach, and that's a great thing about it because he was an all-star running back, of course, with that 7,000 yards. Looked like a young Jerome Bettis or a young Ron Dane guy whose career is cut short, but now he's giving back as a coach. Fantastic.
Great name to come out of Shallowater. He's one of the best still in the history of. So we met the big guns from the other side. How about we meet one of the best from the Idalou side, the one who brought him the ultimate prize. Meet Johnny Taylor after this. Top of the hour to kick off the historic Texas Football Days doubleheader. And we mentioned Shallowater, located 12 miles northwest of Lubbock. Well, Idalou is about 12 miles northeast of the city. Two schools about 20 miles apart. And Idalou also comes with a great namesake. Julian M. Bassett was the VP of the local Crosby Bassett Livestock Company back in the 1900s. The town was named after his two sisters, Ida and Lou. And then he had a guy by the name of Josh Abbott who came along about 70 years later, born and raised here, and wrote a song about the town. You'll hear that a little later in the program. Josh Abbott also played football here at Idalou under Hall of Famer Johnny Taylor, who coached 22 seasons here at Idalou and rode off into that West Texas sunset after capping his career with 16 playoff trips. The ultimate prize from Coach Taylor.
The first year, we had so many injuries. It was amazing. It was kind of one of those years that you thought, I'm getting everything I can handle the first year and get all that out of the way, it seemed. But you could tell the kids were going to be hard workers. They were going to play hard. That continued every year, and we just got better and better and better.
Johnny Taylor coached 22 seasons in Idalou, all with winning records. District titles and playoff runs filled an outstanding career. The only thing missing, a state title. And in 2010, Coach Taylor would give one final try.
We thought we'd have a decent team.
Well, I'd already decided that was going to be my last year.
We started off shaky, 1-3. We were under a little pressure.
You know, with all of us scratching our head and saying, man, I don't know, we got to get something turned the right direction.
The kids responded. Those guys were amazing.
We win the next 11 games.
Got a little confidence, had a little luck mixed in there.
Defense gives up a total of 27 points that whole time.
Before we know it, we're 4 rounds deep, and we had never made it past the 4th round.
We're doing things that had never been done before.
Once we got past that 4th round, those kids had a confidence beyond belief.
In the playoff games, we gave up 1 touchdown and 2 field goals.
It was surreal. Once it finally happened, you know, you got about a minute left and you're up with a comfortable lead, and it kind of sets in.
You can put getting married, having kids, having grandkids all in a lump, and you can put that state championship pretty close to it.
Even with so much success, Johnny Taylor's legacy is defined not by wins, but by the relationships he forged along the way.
Coach Taylor's been a big part of my life. The love that he gave to us and the care about our lives and stuff made you want to play for him.
Coach Taylor capped a remarkable career with the ultimate prize. He was just glad to give Idalou one final ride.
Players are having fun, the coaches, the community, everybody's having a great time, and what better way to go out than winning the state championship.
Yeah, I know you go way back with that one. I saw you laughing through that. You know him well.
Sure do. He coached with my older brother in Hereford for a number of years. But Johnny Taylor is a classic Texas high school football coach. You know, he put the state championship in perspective. It's like having a grandkid, getting married, and things like that. But that puts it in that category. It says he's a family man. And to stay 22 years in Idalou, Texas is really saying something.
Here's the best part about him. He's the first and only coach to bring him a state championship title, and he still claims he's not even the biggest legend in this town. He claims that title belongs to an alum by the name of Tracy Saul. Tracy, a three-sport star here at Idalou from 85 through 89. An all-state safety for the Cats, went on to be an All-American DB up the road at Texas Tech, and is now in the Southwest Conference Hall of Fame. How about that? And kind enough to join us on set here today as the crowd goes wild. You're a big deal, and Coach Taylor's the first to tell us, and I take his word. I gotta throw that out there. I take his word at it.
It's hands down Coach Taylor's the star.
It's the ongoing debate. How about this atmosphere here in Idalou, man? Your hometown rocket.
This is fantastic. You guys to be here in Idalou today, the first high school football game. It's great for the community and great for these people here.
Absolutely.
Tracy, we talk about high school football, and you and I have had many years and benefits from it. What do you see the biggest benefit from Texas high school football?
Yeah, I think that the biggest benefit is what these kids learn, and it's big for a lot of those kids. It may not be the star of the team, and may not be, but they learn a work ethic. They're the guy that makes the play late in the ball game that propels them in their life, to do great things, and I think that's what high school football is.
I know Tracy got to watch a few of our features to get the viewers going here tonight. You were ready to pad up and play tonight. I'm sure Coach Lofton would happily welcome you.
When they played the fight song earlier, I was ready to go then.
I think we all are here. Again, it's the inaugural Texas Football Days. We're getting set to kick off the first ever live telecast here in the state. Shallowater and Idalou at the top of the hour. We're going to whip around the state, though, at some other games we'll be looking into after this.
Fox Football Friday is brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Dairy Queen. For burgers, baskets, blizzards, and Tex-Mex we love, it's Dairy Queen. DQ, that's what we love about Texas.
Hey, big thanks to Tracy Saul for joining us here on Fox Football Friday as part of the inaugural Texas Football Days. Aaron Shea, Coach Purcell, welcoming you back to the set as we want to remind you a lot of programming coming up here tonight. Not only the doubleheader, Scoreboard Live will be later tonight. We also want to remind you of Ford Player of the Week. Don't forget the Texas Ford dealers are looking for outstanding student athletes to be recognized as the Built Ford Tough Player of the Week. Go nominate your Gridiron hero now at playeroftheweek.com. In addition to the doubleheader here tonight, Shallowater, Idalou, Lake Travis at Converse Judson. We have 9 other games and reporters on hand at each of them to bring us updates all night long. And we kick it all the way back to the Metroplex into Allen, Texas, where we find John Rodigan.
Aaron, thank you. Football Friday started early in Allen as the #1 Eagles get ready to host #8 Cedar Hill. What a great way to start the season. Now let's get it off to Aledo, where Neil Beasley begins our 15th season of DQ Big Game of the Week.
Our Week 1 DQ Big Game of the Week should be a beauty. Aledo chasing what would be their 8th state title, up against Colleyville Heritage. Now, head coach Joe Willis won a state title at Cedar Park, looking to do the same thing now with the Panthers. Now let's go to Canadian and Julie Dobbs.
Thanks, Neil. Panhandle powerhouse Canadian Wildcats will look to open their season here tonight against 4A rival Bushland. So what should we expect from this matchup? Well, Bushland head coach Jimmy Thomas told me yesterday, and I quote, "It'll be a dang shootout." Now to Maya Golden in Texarkana.
Guys, I'm here in Texarkana where Liberty Isla will host Gilmer tonight. The big story in this one, the dual threat quarterbacks, Decorian Phillips for the Leopards, Poppy Brown for the Buckeyes. Going to be a lot of scoring in this one, Allison.
It's Friday Night Lights at its best as the storied Permian Panthers are taking on the new kids in 6A in Austin Vandergrift. The two matched up last year in the season opener. It was a wild one. We are going to have all the updates for you, but for now, sending it back to the studio with Aaron Hardigan.
Allison, thanks so much. Great stuff from all of our reporters there. I know Coach Ken Purcell was getting excited when Julie was talking about Canadian and Bushland. That takes you back to the West Bank, huh?
That's Panhandle. And, Canadian's been around a long time and done some great things, won some state titles, whereas Bushland is a fairly new school, but they have really come on strong.
How about Odessa Permian? You talk about storied. You can't get any more storied than that.
Well, absolutely. And Blake Felt has got to be extremely excited about having Brother Miller back as the wide receiver and the running back, the dual threat, 6'2", 4'5", 40 guy. And he was injured ACL last year in the 5th game, didn't get to play, so certainly glad to have him. And Drew Sanders, how about him for the Vipers? My goodness, he talks about defense, and he talks about his big defensive lineman, Oso Nfesa-Shuku. Big-time defensive lineman there, and it's going to be a great game tonight.
Shea Walker for that one. Style points, my friend. The great thing about all of these teams, we talked to all the coaches this week, they've all mentioned they are playing for South Texas tonight, because if it's one thing we know about this great state is that these communities are as resilient as they come. Just as we learned a few years ago, the great town of West.
In 2013, West Texas needed a return to something familiar.
All small towns in Texas are built around their high school football team and their school.
It's not just about the players on the field. It's the bands, and it's the fans, and it's the cheerleaders that are a part of that Friday night experience.
We had to get the sports back in town. It's how do we get them playing football in a stadium that was the triage center on the night of the incident.
That spring, a fertilizer plant explosion had devastated much of the town and its schools, including the athletic facilities.
The turf had to be removed completely. It was a biohazard, so it had to be contained in a certain way.
When they started redoing the football field, when I saw that, and I was like, this is going to bring everybody out.
A pep rally included Hall of Fame coach Grant Taff and a good portion of the town.
Rise up, community.
The Trojan football players wanted desperately to give their communities something to cheer.
If we do good right here, we'll bring up the town mainly. So, get their minds off of what happened.
A win, however, proved a lot to ask from a team coming off a 1-9 season and starting sophomores at key positions.
And our kids were so excited about being out here and so excited about trying to make plays that, we tried to do a little too much.
That first game showed that West could return to the normal, but still had a long way to go. 2 autumns later, those sophomores turned seniors set a new standard, earning the school its first playoff wins in almost a decade.
Everything that those kids have come through, there's no way that it couldn't have helped them through the success we've had athletically, and not only that, just the success that they'll have later on as they go through college and things like that.
Hey, just as this state banded together for the town of West, you can help us band together now. Help the people affected by Hurricane Harvey today by visiting redcross.org or texting the word Harvey to 90999. By doing that, you make a $10 donation, and your donation enables the Red Cross to prepare, respond, and help the people recover from this disaster taking place in Shea Walker's community down there in South Texas. And I know it's a bittersweet night here tonight, Shea.
Well, it really is, Aaron, and really the outpouring of support for the Houston area has been fantastic, and the amount of shelters and just seeing the people helping the communities, galvanizing and people, flotillas of people in their personal watercraft going rescue people and pets, and really, quite frankly, all the way from Corpus Christi to Port Arthur, I don't think there's a single town that's not affected by Hurricane Harvey, and it's just, again, humbling and gratifying to see how much people care and the support that they're providing.
You know, I hear people talk about Texas high school football and how it brings people together. Texans come together. I almost get emotional talking about it. But when a disaster happens in Texas, we come together, and it's phenomenal. And it coincides with what we teach in Texas high school football. It's a great example.
You know, Coach, I have to say just real quick to this, I'm very proud to be from Houston and seeing all the reaction response. I'm even more proud to be a Texan.
You bet.
Hey, we mentioned close to 100 games canceled in South Texas with the storms. How about Corpus Christi? Cal Allen still plating, hosting Mercedes as we head down there and meet Desmond Purnell with more.
It's been a rough few weeks for Cal Allen head coach Phil Donaher. His wife Anita was involved in a serious car accident last week, causing Donaher to take some time away from his team. Good news, though. His wife is recovering at home. Meanwhile, Donaher will be on the sidelines for tonight's season opener against Mercedes. We'll now hand off to Alexa Shaw, who's in Wall.
Monahan's visits Wall as two explosive offenses meet again to start off their seasons. Monahan's running back Tylen McAllister is coming off of a 1,600-yard junior season, and keep an eye on Wall's triple option offense led by senior quarterback Brock Wisenquist. Now let's send it out to Whitley Pleasant in Carthage.
A new season brings new challenges for a rebuilding Gladewater team. The Bears will face the defending Class 4A state champs Carthage, highlighted by Texas commit Keontae Ingram. It's going to be a classic East Texas showdown. Let's go ahead and check in with Owen Newkirk in San Benito.
Hi, Whitley. We're here in the Rio Grande Valley, where tonight San Benito hosts United from Laredo. It's a grudge match because last year San Benito went to Laredo and beat United handily, so they want to get revenge. Let's send it back to Idalou with Aaron Hardigan.
Thanks so much, guys. Great reporters all across the state tonight bringing us updates. And again, as we mentioned, you know a lot of coaches down in South Texas that would play in the water if they could. Well, how about your guy Phil Danaher still playing on that board of directors with him with the Coaches Association?
Yes, Phil and I have known each other since the early 90s when we served together, as you say, on the board of directors. He's got 432 wins. He's the top winningest coach in the state of Texas. But he's humble. His teams are the same way. They're humble, they're hardworking, they have character, and that's why he wins a lot of football games.
No doubt. Well, hopefully one of these two sides will be winning this one tonight, and it'll be the first win as part of Texas football days as we continue to make history here tonight and roll along. How about we get more on the matchup at hand, huh? The voice of the game, Ted Emmerich, joins the desk next.
Hey, I'm Josh from the Josh Abbott Band, and you're watching Texas Football Days. There's nothing quite like high school football here in the great state of Texas. It just brings communities together. I've got a lot of great stories from my time in Idalou, even though I wasn't even very good at sports. But it's time for a victory, so let's go Wildcats, get the W.
Hey, welcome back to Fox Football Friday. You know, Josh Abbott actually played football here at Idalou under the Hall of Famer Johnny Taylor. Josh will be the first to tell you, though, that he wasn't very good at football, and I think he chose the right career path. In fact, our music video to his song, Idalou, will be coming up in tonight's telecast. Shallowater and Idalou will be kicking off our historic doubleheader, the first live televised doubleheader here as part of Texas Football Days. Lake Travis at Converse Judson will beat the Nightcap, Craig Way and Gary Reasons. Jen Hale will be on that call, and followed by High School Scoreboard Live. You want to talk historic? High School Scoreboard Live going from 1 hour to 2 hours. You get 2 hours of Rick Renner, Craig Way, and Greg Tepper, all you can handle, as we welcome in someone who knows all three of those far too well, and he will be the voice of tonight's game. Ted Emmerich, the star power has increased here at the desk, bringing you aboard, my friend.
Oh, Aaron, you're too kind. I'll tell you what, you guys have been so welcoming. I'm so glad to be here for this event on Fox Sports Southwest. I think I've already overstepped my bounds, though. I asked Coach Purcell during the break if I could wear his hat.
Not a chance.
He said not a chance.
Yeah.
So I know the line. I'm not going to cross it here. Yes, so that's where we are there. I'm excited about this game, Shay. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is the embodiment of small school, high school football in Texas. You've got two rivals that are 23 miles apart. You've got a head coach at Idalou who played in this rivalry 20 years ago. Jeff Lofton, alum of Idalou, class of 97, salutatorian in his class. And of course, as we found out earlier in the pregame, his father-in-law, Johnny Taylor, coached him. So all the connections at Idalou makes things so special. And one thing about this particular team, Jeff Lofton has a star at running back in Mark Caballero.
Well, he really does, Ted, and you bring up his legendary coach, Johnny Taylor, around Idalou. But you talk about this running back, Mark Caballero. He's an honorable mention All-State guy. He has good speed, good top-end speed, great vision. He makes a lot of guys miss, and this is a very complicated blocking scheme that the Wildcats pose for people to try to challenge defensively, and Caballero is the excellent back who can exploit the holes in the creases and find those open areas and make big runs.
Honorable mention All-State a year ago. In fact, he torched Shallowater in Week 1 last year on the road. This 69-yard touchdown run, over 100 yards on the ground. One of 9 100-yard games for Caballero last season, on his way to 1,800 for the year. The district MVP, and now Caballero getting ready for his senior season. On the other side, Shay, you've got Shallowater starting a new era, and their head coach, Brian Wood, who is just glad to be back in coaching. The athletic director at Canyon ISD, just up the road, I-27 near Amarillo. He says he missed it. He said this week he's sick to his stomach again, and he couldn't feel any better about it. Brian Wood taking over. He said when you take over a new program, Shay, you've got to have captain-type players. And he says he just happens to have one who lives with him. That's his son, Kobe Wood.
Well, Kobe Wood, again, coming from Canyon Randall 5A school to Shallowater, and Coach Wood was very pointed to tell both of us on the conference call we had earlier in the week, was that this was a package deal. If Kobe wasn't comfortable with coming, I wasn't going to take the job. And the fact of the matter is that Kobe Wood is an outstanding player. Coach Wood has only been on campus since March 1st, so he's still working and trying to get his team and his feel down, and he's not really sure what's going to happen in this game. He knows what the effort's going to be. He's not sure about the result, but right now he's comfortable and confident that his team is going to give it the best effort.
And it's classic 3A football for Kobe Wood. Receiver/cornerback. It's something that you'll see all night. Several players going both ways. They're not coming off the field because these teams can't afford it. Both coaches told us they got to have their best 11 on the field just about all the time.
Well, and that's one of the things that makes this classification so interesting, because you do have to play both ways. And it's not because you're wanting to hog playing time. It's because you are the best player at that position, and it's really comforting to see these guys because they go out and they lay it all on the line every game.
You know what the best thing about this doubleheader is here as part of Texas Football Days is we're really showcasing both ends of the spectrum of high school football in the state. As you mentioned, we got the 3A, West Texas, every resident 3 counties wide in attendance, and then you got the heavy hitters slugging it out in like multi-million-dollar stadiums. That sums it up right there, doesn't it? Hey, kick coming up at the top of the hour. Ted and Shay on the call. Very much looking forward to that. We talk about high school impact across the state. How about its impact on the America's team, Dallas Cowboys? That story.
Fox Football Friday is brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Dairy Queen. For burgers, baskets, blizzards, and Tex-Mex we love, it's Dairy Queen. DQ, that's what we love about Texas.
Aaron Hardigan welcoming you back to Reddle Stadium here in the town of Idalou on the plains of West Texas. Idalou hosting Shallowater in the first game of our first ever live televised doubleheader here on Fox Sports Southwest. And we've talked all night long about the impact that high school football has on its local communities. Would you believe that high school football also has an impact on the National Football League and on America's team, the Dallas Cowboys?
These days, he helps run the world's most valuable sports franchise. But Stephen Jones' love of sports began like yours probably did, at a high school football game.
When I was a young kid running around the back of end zones, that's what kids would do at my high school, is you'd go to the Friday night game and you'd be out there throwing the ball around while the big kids were playing high school football. Of course, your dream was to grow up and be one of those guys.
One of the great memories in his life of great memories is from his high school days at Little Rock Catholic.
I'll never forget winning the job as a sophomore quarterback and being able to tell my father that, that I was going to be starting for the Rockets.
That high school experience can be absolutely character changing.
High school football is, I think, the purest form of our game.
Clearly, the Jones family loves high school football. In fact, without it, they might not be where they are or who they are today.
If I hadn't have played football, I wouldn't own the Dallas Cowboys.
That's a strong statement about the impact of the game and the critical role it's played in Jerry's life. His passion for high school football is shown when he invites the game's youth to play ball inside his house.
You're starting to get players that have now cycled on through to the NFL, and they say it was the greatest experience of our life to play high school football and have it culminate with getting to play, whether it be a playoff game or the state championship, in one of the best facilities in the world.
Those games at AT&T are a postseason treat for the best of the best. But each week, there are several games at the Star in Frisco.
When Dak Prescott walks off the field on Friday, he may very well run into high school team, a quarterback for a high school team that's coming on the field, and he may even give him some tips.
NFL owners come in here, and the first question they ask is, how do you guys think of things like this? How do you even start? How do you get the excitement? And I do think it has some uniqueness to Texas high school football.
Stephen now knows the game on a different level. Last year, he experienced the thrill, the pride, the joy of watching his son quarterback Highland Park all the way to a state championship.
Have been a part of championships and winning, but I must say, this was the pinnacle for me, and probably would trade all those things to get the moment to watch your own son not only play in a state championship, but be a big part of it.
There is no greater thrill for a player or his dad, unless, of course, they can win it again this year.
John Stevens-Jones, JSJ. We remember watching him last year.
Oh, yeah, at the state championship game. What a treat to win a state title. Your dad's on the sideline, and your granddad owns the building.
Exactly, in your grandfather's house, right?
You bet. It doesn't get much better than that. But that does, even if their example, it's a family thing in Texas high school football. Mom, dad, little brother. And it goes even further than that. The bands, the drill teams, all the things you're going to see tonight. This is the best that these communities have to offer. The finest kids in these communities are here tonight to perform for everyone.
Well, and you want to talk high school football's impact on the NFL. Texas is filling all the NFL rosters just about. Right. These two know. We welcome in two special guests here tonight that are thrilled to be a part of the historic opening night that is here. We have City Councilman from Idalou, Eric Geiser, here along the mayor of Shallowater, Robert Olmsted Jr. Guys, welcome.
Thank you.
Happy opening night.
Wow, it's just unbelievable. Yeah, we've been waiting for this for a while.
He's ready to strap up and hit those sidelines and coach again. We're trying to keep him up here for another segment.
Let's get on our side. Yeah, I was going to say, no, wait a minute. How about we let you have him for the last half, as long as we're ahead in the first.
I'm curious to know what you guys think. This is the first ever regular season Friday night football game to be telecast live in the state of Texas. First ever, and your two towns are represented. What does that mean?
Yeah, it's really exciting. I mean, we're excited already as it is with high school football starting up, but then add on to it all the cameras and all the Fox Sports people being out here. It's just been a really, really exciting last couple of weeks getting ready for it. Well, we appreciate the folks from Idalou having us over and making us feel at home. This is always a good game for us, kind of get the season started. Although it's not a district matchup, I tell you, nothing could be more exciting than having the opportunity to be on television. I was talking to some folks earlier. I'm shocked. I cannot believe UIL has let it open up like this. I think this will definitely change high school football as we see it in Texas, and I hope for years to come. This is exciting.
You know, I'm just throwing this out there, but to make it a bit more exciting, how about we put a wager on this thing? Oh, are we game? Are we game? What do we got? I know we got Cotton Fest coming up, and y'all have a Harvest
Festival, yes, ma'am.
Could we do like a like losers got to go to the others event and maybe be in the dunking contest if that's a thing, and if not, we'll make it one?
I don't know if we have a dunking contest or not. You know, I can assure you we will.
We need something good.
You know, both teams obviously want to win the game, and every year it's a good game. Absolutely. But there's something bigger going on right now down in Houston, so maybe both towns can commit to sending some money to the relief fund down there to the folks in Houston. Win or lose, we'll pull together and send some funds down there to help out the people in Houston. Alderman, you make a great point. I've got a brother down in Houston. I know they hadn't been able to start school yet. So I think in lieu of, I would like to see you in the dunking booth. I think that is a great idea. Maybe we do both.
That's great. West Texas helping South Texas. We love that's high school football in a nutshell.
Absolutely.
Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. Enjoy this game.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, again, it's the first of a lot of games coming up this weekend. We got Texas Tech. We got Texas and TCU, also part of Texas Football Days. That's tomorrow. Again, tonight in the nightcap, Lake Travis at Converse Judson, followed by a 2-hour high school scoreboard live. A lot of great stuff coming. But again, first ever high school football game to be televised live here on Fox Sports Southwest. It's Idalou and it's Shallowater, and it kicks off next right here on Fox Sports Southwest. I'll be on the sidelines joining Ted Emmerich and Shay Walker in the booth calling this one. Coach Purcell, you're a TV superstar. Thanks for doing what you do here. Enjoy the game. We'll see you back as we kick things to Leslie and Coach McCoy in studio.
The buzz is palpable in West Texas, where Fox Sports Southwest and the UIL make history tonight with the first live Friday night high school football telecast, beginning in a town made famous by country music star Josh Abbott.
There's faded paint down Walnut Street. That's the cotton gin where the farmers meets. And there's the water tower I never had the guts to climb. Coach Taylor retired after finally winning state. They'll all move on, but the stories will stay the same. She'll pick you up and pull you down. In every waves when they're driving through our little town. Yeah, the faces may change, the last names never do. It's a beautiful way of life in
Texas Football Days have arrived on Fox Sports Southwest. We are just north of Lubbock. Riddell Field is packed in the one-stoplight town of Idalou. The Wildcats kick off their season against nearby rivals, the Shallowater Mustangs, both perennial playoff teams in Class 3A, and here come the Shallowater Mustangs. And now the Idalou Wildcats. Idalou has been to the playoffs 17 straight years. For Shallowater, a streak of 7 consecutive playoff appearances. Bitter rivals meeting to open the season. Ted Emmerich, Shay Walker, Aaron Hardigan, our entire crew. Both teams, Shay, have running backs that can hurt you.
Absolutely, Ted, and the strength of these two teams, and both coaches like to run the football. Mark Caballero and Brody Hendricks are both stars on their team.
Downstairs, Aaron Hardigan with Idalou head coach Jeff Lofton.
Ted, thanks so much. First ever Friday night game to be televised live. What's it like right now?
Hey, about 100 out of 10. I mean, it's a feeling like no other. Give me a helmet. That's all I want. Give me a helmet and put me on the field.
Hey, I know you said the beauty of high school football is this state banding together, and you mentioned you guys are playing for South Texas too.
That's right. We love our fellow Texans down there. Our hearts and our prayers go out to them. I told our kids tonight, play for those who can't. You know, we wish them the best, and we'll do anything we can to help them.
We appreciate all you've done, Coach. Enjoy the game. Good luck.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Ted.
Aaron, thanks so much. Both teams, both schools, like many schools all across the state, collecting donations for the victims of Hurricane Harvey. We'll tell you that story as the night moves along. This stadium packed to the gill. Shallowater traveling from 23 miles to the west. Their new head coach, Brian Wood, with his team in the locker room before kickoff.
It's gonna be a long game, and who can hang on at the end may be the difference. What do we say is going to happen? We're going to be in better shape. That's what we've said. We've got to be in better shape, and I believe we are. just cut loose, guys, and have fun, all right? Go play some good football. Let's get this thing started on the right track, okay?
Brian Wood taking over a team that went 2-9 a year ago. Did make the playoffs, but just 2 victories. Wood, 15 years as a head coach, happy to be back on the sidelines after 1 season as the athletic director of Canyon ISD. And he wants the ball after winning the coin toss. Shallowater will receive. Idalou in the green and gold. Landon Reeves kicks it away. Texas football days are here. And Reeves' kick is through the back of the end zone, a touchback to start things off. Shallowater was awfully young a year ago during that 2-9 season, relied on several sophomores. Cutter Sparks, their quarterback, was one of them. He was baptized by fire, 12 interceptions, just 8 touchdowns. Now he's ready to apply the lessons learned.
But and the great thing is that he has made a positive impression on Coach Wood. Kobe Wood, the dual athlete that we talked about, also played quarterback last year at Canyon Randall, and he does have the capabilities of it, but he's bigger threat on the outside, and Coach couldn't talk more about Cutter Sparks, his big arm, and how hard he works.
Out of the shotgun, first down from the 25, the handoff goes to Brody Hendrick, and off tackle he picks up 5 yards. Colby Gentry, the starting quarterback for Idalou. Yes, starting quarterback / linebacker on the stop.
And Ted, that was not the typical hit that you see a quarterback give. I mean, he put his hat down and he rocked Brody Hendrick right there near the line of scrimmage.
Gentry, 5'7", 165. He packs a wallop. Had 12 tackles in this game a year ago. On second down, first throw of the year for Sparks. Going downfield, wide open man. And down the sidelines for a touchdown. 70 yards for Shallowater. Hayden Vanderoost blowing the top off the defense. Shallowater starts the season off with a bang.
You know, Ted, Coach Wood told us that he was not going to be shy in this game and that he was going to take some shots early. There's a combination route. You saw a man in the flat, and then you saw Vanderoost running the flag route, the 7 route, over the top of the secondary. Got the ball in his hands, and how about that top end speed? Turned it into a touchdown, 70 yards, big-time play for the Mustangs.
Junior Jackson Kramer to add the extra point. Low line drive, it sneaks over the crossbar. And a 7-0 lead for Shallowater just 40 seconds into the season.
Yeah, baby, yeah. Another nice look. Cutter Sparks rolling out to his left. And one of the most important things as a quarterback, Ted, when you have a wide receiver that's open, you do not want to overthrow him. You want to make sure that he can catch the ball running in stride, and Vanderoost did a great job.
Vanderoost, a starter on the defense as the outside linebacker in this 3-3 stack defense for Shallowater, but more time at wide receiver tonight because Shallowater is without one of its top weapons to begin the season. Mitch Stutler, their leading receiver from a year ago, dislocated his elbow in a scrimmage last week, so Shallowater's trying to piece together the skill positions. There is depth, and Vanderoost is seeing more time at receiver. He never imagined that his first varsity catch would come in this fashion.
Well, it was quite a catch, great route, and you talk about Mitch Stutler, and really what a key player he was. 43 catches, 580 yards last season for the Mustangs, leading receiver, and hoping, Coach Wood told us that he could be back in the 6-week window. They still need to get some further reviews and analysis from the doctors, but Vanderoost stepping in and really helping out, and man, what a great play.
There is Stutler with the brace on that arm. Big injury, but Shallowater overcoming it thus far. Stutler about 500 yards receiving on 40 catches a year ago on a 2-9 team, also a starter at free safety. Cheerleader tonight, Vanderoost stepping up, and a 7-0 lead. Now Kramer to kick away. Knuckleball kick fielded by one of the upbacks for Idalou. And across the 30-yard line goes Xavier Rodriguez, the starting fullback and middle linebacker. So Idalou in a hole before their offense can even take the field. And here comes the smash mouth offense for the Wildcats, and it really starts up front.
But it does, Ted, and you talk about guys who are
making a difference on this team, and it is that offensive line. And Coach Lofton has talked about their blocking scheme, their aggressiveness, and wanting to really grind it out. And we asked him, what would success look like for you on first down? He said, 3 yards. Give me 3 yards and I'm good.
Here's Mark Caballero on Idalou's signature toss sweep. And Shallowater's able to build a fence to the sideline. Caballero still picks up about 5 on first down. Braxton Gerardo the tackle.
But Gerardo doing a nice job. They got a flag down on the field. Gerardo doing a nice job of stringing that play along and not letting Caballero make the edge and get up the field.
Mike Durrett from the South Plains chapter. Our referee tonight, Cooper Flanagan, the center, was the culprit. First year starting at that position for Flanagan. As you see, Jeff Lofton and his coaching staff. Lofton, class of 97 here at Idalou, played fullback and linebacker from 93 to 96. In fact, he was the district defensive MVP his senior year. And yeah, he'd love to be playing tonight. So Idalou behind the chains on first down. Give it to Caballero up the gut this time. Caballero, a nice move, spins his way to the 30-yard line. And that'll cut into some of the penalty yardage. Luke Duane is the stop.
Well, the Shallowater defense, Ted, right now, first couple of plays, obviously, but doing a really good job of limiting the running lanes for Caballero. And that's another thing that Coach Wood had talked about, is that we need to clog it up in the middle, make them throw it to beat us. But so far, that defensive front, undersized as they may be for the Mustangs, hanging in there tough.
On second down, here's the toss back to Caballero, trying to find space, and he is swarmed by Mustangs. Caleb White, the cornerback, on the perimeter, one of many Shallowater defenders who were there.
And Braxton Gerardo, number 35, still doing a great job, and Luke Duane is as well. Coming off those edges is just wreaking havoc so far. Near the line of scrimmage is exactly what Coach Wood, defensive coordinator Steve Adams, when we asked him, he said, I kept all of the defensive staff. I was been here since March 1st. He said, I think, he says he's been here 40 years. He goes, I think it's more than that.
3rd and 15, and some trickery for Idalou. Gentry's in trouble, and Gentry is ragdolled to the turf. A sack on 3rd and long. Duenas for a loss of 11.
Well, the defense for the Mustangs not taking the bait, outside edge, make sure that it got set, didn't take the fake. Nice job of following up right there. Gerardo doing a good job of getting in the backfield again. Or Duenas, excuse me, 55.
And you know, Shea, there isn't much in the playbook for Idalou on 3rd and 15. This is a team that does what you grind it out as the snap goes over Gentry's head. Gentry doubles as the punter, and he miraculously got off the kick. Well, and it's going to take an Idalou roll to midfield. How fortunate was Colby Gentry? That's a 29-yard punt, and he will take it gladly.
That's the best 29-yard punt that Colby Gentry will make probably in his career. Great job of getting back, keeping his poise. Snaps clearly way over the top of his head, rolls into the end zone. I mean, he's down there in, you know, a very dangerous territory for Idalou, and yet gets away a nice kick and moves it out near the midfield line.
Tate Witten was applying the pressure for Shallowater. And we have a sideline warning at the end of the play.
More than a warning, they're marking it off.
It's been a point of emphasis at the college game and as a result at the high school level. And the officials mark off 15 yards. So Shallowater is going to have really good field position. It's still decent, but that penalty backs them up to inside their own 35. 3 minutes gone by. Shallowater struck first with a 70-yard touchdown pass on the first drive. Flag is down as Sparks hands off. And a nominal gain for Zach Aragon. But let's check the marker.
I know.
So Shallowater marches forward 5 yards with that mark off. Zach Aragon at running back for Shallowater. His first football game in 2 years. Sat out last year after having surgery for an injured labrum. Moved in from Littlefield, just 25 miles north of Shallowater, a district foe. He's lined up to the right side of Sparks in the gun. On 1st and 5, Sparks keeping. And Sparks trudges forward for the first down. Gain of 6, McCade Merrill, the tackle for Idalou.
Well, a nice physical run by your quarterback, Sparks. He turns it upfield. He breaks through a couple of arm tackles, Ted, and just eases enough yards out of this run to pick up the first down. But nice job moving the chains. Good, tough run.
Sparks was a decent runner last year. More than 450 yards, 5 touchdowns. Not really known as a mobile guy, but he can get the job done. Now 1st and 10 at the 45. Sparks keeping again. And he burrows forward for 3 this time to bring up 2nd and 7. Sparks earned this job. Kobe Wood, Brian Wood's son, playing receiver and corner, started 6 games at Canyon Randall at quarterback last year as a junior. And Brian Wood will tell you, hey, I brought my son, started at the 5A level, and I chose Cutter. That tells you what I think about it.
Absolutely. Best compliment that you can give your quarterback.
Sparks on the move. 2nd and 7, looking to the corner, and it's caught deep in Idalou territory. A similar route to the touchdown. Caught by Brody Hendrick, lining up as a receiver. 32 yards.
Outstanding throw by Cutter Sparks. Again, rolling out to his left. He plants his feet, squares his shoulders, and he throws a dart right into Brody Hendrick. Hendrick makes a great catch on the sideline. Shallowater back in business.
Hendrick will line up all over the field for Shallowater. Now 1st down as Sparks sweeps to the right side. Sparks lowering his shoulder, and he's stacked up. Back to the pass to Brody Hendrick.
Yeah, take a look as he's rolling out to his left. The shoulder's getting square. You see the left shoulder leaning downfield a little bit, and that allows him to put the right finesse and touch on the ball, but he throws a perfect pass into Brody Hendrick. Outstanding job there by Cutter Sparks.
Hendrick, a good receiver last year, played a little slot. Much more receiver this season as a senior, lining up in the slot here on 2nd down and 5. Now Hendrick is the motion man. Give it to him on the jet sweep. Hendrick with room, stepping over a defender, and Hendrick is in for the touchdown. What a start for the Shallowater Mustangs, coming here to Idalou and jumping on top by 2 scores.
Well, the passing game, Ted, keeping them in this game and getting them the edge that they needed. And quite frankly, just so far in this ball game, they're executing flawlessly. Great open field run there by Brody Hendrick, but as you said, lined up in the slot. Goes to his left, takes that handoff, inside handoff, and turns it up for the touchdown.
Kramer once again a low line drive, but it is good. 14-0 in this first quarter. Shallowater has made the trip here to Idalou, and the Mustangs with big plays. Hayden Vanderoo 70 yards to the house. Brody Hendrick finishing off the 2nd drive. Back-to-back scores. Shallowater in front. Texas football days here on Fox Sports Southwest. What a historic night it is. The first Friday night regular season high school game to be televised live. Shallowater is making a difference. They are making the most of this opportunity. Another quick scoring drive. Brody Hendrick in on the jet sweep from 17 yards out. And the Mustangs are up 14-0 over Idalou here at Riddell Field. Brian Wood, the new head coach at Shallowater, said, hey, taking over a 2-9 team, we need to build confidence early. This is a team that was kicked over and over again last year. They've got some confidence now. Kramer the kickoff for Shallowater. Again, a short kick. Merrill running underneath it with momentum. He takes it across the 40-yard line. Good field position for Idalou, which will have its second possession. They punted the first time.
Well, you got a feeling that Jeff Lofton and Russ Reagan, the run game coordinator for these Wildcats, Ted, really want to see just get back to their knitting, use ball control techniques, run the ball, make the blocks, get the blocking scheme down, get that offensive line comfortable and settle down.
2 tight ends, 1 receiver. Jeremiah Lorimer split to the bottom of your picture. On the toss, flea flicker again. This time Gentry hits the open man. Xavier Rodriguez, the fullback, and he has the first down. Gain of about 11 into Shallowater territory.
Oh, and Brody Hendrick in on the tackle for the Mustangs. But how about that? We talk about getting down, back to basics. Jeff Lofton, he rolls the dice. The quarterback, pitch it back to the running back to the quarterback. Dumps it off. Nice play for Idalou and gets him across midfield line.
Anywhere else, the flea flicker that resulted in a sack on the first drive, you're not calling that all night. Flag is down as Rodriguez picks up a yard. Wade Burt, the tackle, might have a face mask here.
Well, that was tough sledding in the middle. Again, albeit they're undersized, these Shallowater Mustang defensive front, they are clogging up the running lanes. That's exactly what Brian Wood hoped that they could do.
Here's the call.
Personal foul. Grabbing the face mask. Number 25 on the defense. 15 yards penalty. First down.
Caleb White, the corner. The guilty party. Yeah, this really is a clash of styles. Idalou, the power, smash mouth, grinded out offense, big offensive and defensive lines. Shallowater known for their speed and their depth at the skill positions, and we know that styles make fights. Brock Shelley has checked into the lineup for Idalou as a receiver, split wide to the right. Caballero, honorable mention, All-State a year ago, remains the tailback. On first down, a play fake. Gentry setting up the screen, and it's thrown behind Caballero. He had no chance, especially with Tate Witten bearing down on him.
Well, another misdirection play by this Wildcat offense, and Tate Witten absolutely diagnosed it perfectly. Looks like it was very well set up, but Tate Witten comes in and read it beautifully, goes past the blocker, gets into the running back, and breaks up the pass.
Second and 10, the toss to Caballero. Darting to the outside. Spin move. And Caballero making the most of that run. 7 yards on the carry. Austin Wenzel, Shallowater's leading tackler a year ago, made the stop.
It's Ed, when you talk about what Coach said about Mark Caballero, is that his vision and how he navigates the sideline right here. Defenders all over him like a pinball machine or pinball. He just keeps bouncing off of them and picks up positive yards on that second down carry.
Isn't it tough to get a clean shot on a guy who's 5'9", 150 and can move like that? Yeah, 3rd and 3. And now Rodriguez diving forward, close to the first down marker. It'll depend on the spot. Rodriguez is a guy that Jeff Lofton believes will be a weapon for this team. He does have enough of the first down. He was impressive in the team's first scrimmage against Snyder 2 weeks ago. Lofton says, hey, I need a scoring threat at fullback. Rodriguez is an effective runner. So a fresh set of downs now at the 21 of Shallowater. Idalou on the march on their second possession. Gentry tosses to Caballero. Looking for the crease. Another spin move. He's across the 20. A gain of 2 this time. Gerardo and Vanderroos the tackle.
I'm going to say an impressive 2-yard run because C.J. Easley, the linebacker for Shallowater, it was in the backfield 4 yards deep when Caballero was taking that wide handoff or pitch and trying to make it around the left side of the defense. And, man, what a great job of making guys miss and picking up positive yards.
Caballero, despite his size, is a bell cow. 25 carries 5 times last year. Here's Gentry on the option keeper, faking it to Rodriguez. and Gentry slithering his way for what looks to be a first down.
On this particular series, Ted, the offensive line for Idalou starting to lean on this defense a little bit more. The penetration is still there around the line of scrimmage, but Maverick Pierce, Cooper Flanagan, Drew McGehee, big men up front, Tanner Sorrells, excuse me. Those guys are starting to impose their will a little bit and leaning down on these shallow water defenders.
First down at the 11 now for Idalou. Trying to get on the board. Gentry running the triple option. Keeping. Never thought about pitching it to Caballero. Picks up a couple. Gerardo out there on the edge with Hendrick.
Well, just another facet in something difficult to cover. You see the broad open area. Gentry doing a good job. Strong runner. Picking up positive yards. And again, 3 yards is good for Coach Lofton. Picks up 5.5, almost 6 on that carry.
He says he would be comfortable with 3 yards on first down, and he doesn't mind going for it on 4th down. Now a power eye on 2nd and 5. Caballero once again looking for room, and he's cut down shy of the 5-yard line. It'll be 3rd down for Idalou as Austin Wenzel makes another tackle for Shallowater.
Well, that was a great play by Wenzel coming in and filling the hole. There was a couple of big blockers who said the power eye leading it down the left side. And you're talking about big bodies and a lot of beef, and Shallowater defenders shot the gap, got in there, and disrupted the play.
3rd and 5. Idalou can pick up a first down without scoring a touchdown. That jumbo set yet again. Gentry feeds it to Caballero off the right side. Caballero pushes his way in for the touchdown. Idalou needed that answer. Caballero, the one to give it to them. It's 14-6.
Ted, we take a look here. The center, Cooper Flanagan, along with his right tackle, Maverick Pierce. Great job of double teaming and walling off, just sealing it down. And Caballero with that great vision and those side steps that he makes, gets it into the end zone.
Landon Reeves adds the extra point. Caballero, 21 touchdowns on the ground a year ago, his first of 2017. Well, Texas Football Day is so special here on Fox Sports Southwest. We've got look-ins to games all across the state tonight. Big games from West Texas to East Texas down to the Valley. We first go to the Metroplex. John Radigan at Eagle Stadium for Cedar Hill and Allen.
Thanks. We're here in Allen to celebrate all that is good about Texas high school football. The #1 team in the state, hosting the squad ranked number 8 in the preseason polls. 2 powerhouse programs, 2 great groups of fans, 2 coaches that get it. Yes, it's risky to play a team this highly ranked this early in the season, but both Terry Gamble and Carlos Lynn know that to be the best, you must beat the best, and it doesn't get any better than right here in the state of Texas. This is how the season should begin for Allen and Cedar Hill. Between them, they've won 6 state championships in the last 11 years, and both believe they can win another one this year. That first test is a tough one, but nobody said it would be easy. That's why they call it Texas high school football. We'll be here all night with highlights and updates from this clash of the Titans. But for now, let's get it back to you.
It really was. There was a run and then
You know, Ted, that Cedar Hill Allen game, Carlos Lynn, first-year head coach, Joey McGuire, who did such an amazing job as a Longhorns head coach, now on the staff at Baylor. Carlos Lynn, who was at Cedar Hill, went to Arlington Seguin High School to be the head coach there, now coming home to lead the Longhorns, and got a lot of talent to do. And Terry Gamble and the Allen machine continues to keep on rolling.
It's a matchup of juggernauts to start the year at the 6A level in DFW. Here in West Texas, big matchup between 3A rivals, and what a drive for Idalou. Jeff Lofton's team desperately needed that after falling behind 14-0, and they found their rhythm on the ground.
Well, you know what's interesting about that drive, though? We both were kind of signaling that this is an important possession. And the fact that was what Idalou did was they went off script. They started running a little reverse plays and quarterback pitches to the running back, handing back to the quarterback, making some throws. So something to kind of spread out that shallow water defense. And yet, when they needed the yards, they got the big boys up front, Cooper Flanagan, Maverick Pierce, doing a great job of leading and blocking and pushing and creating holes for Caballero to put it into the end zone for the touchdown.
Caballero had 9 games of 100 yards or more last season, 2 eclipsing 200 yards. Off to a good start here tonight in Idalou. Landon Reeves, the line drive kick, big leg on Reeves, and another touchback. Let's head downstairs. Aaron Hardigan with a special guest.
Yeah, you know, we talk about all the legends to come out of Idalou. I'm pleased to be joined with another. Remember, we mentioned in 2010, that was the year Idalou football brought home the state's first ever state championship, only for basketball to follow it up that same year with a title of their own. This guy, Bradley Atkins, was a part of both teams. And oh, by the way, not to mention, he was also a state high jumper who competed in last year's Olympic Games in Rio at high jumping. How cool for you, a young boy out of small little Idalou, competing in Rio. What was that experience like?
It was very humbling to come from this background, close-knit family, the support, the encouragement, the letters, and all the support I've had throughout the years. It really just helped me get there. And when I made the team, and it was just so surreal, and the support was incredible. People were watching it, texting me, and it was just humbling. It's an experience of a lifetime, and I'm glad that I could bring it back and share it with this group and this community, and it's something I'll cherish forever.
Well, you were one heck of an athlete to come out of here, again, competing on both state championship teams. And Coach Taylor mentioned he wishes he can get you back out there and suit you up. You even mentioned that tonight watching this team. What was that like for you, being a part of the first 2 ever state championships for this school in this town in the same year?
It was incredible. The history here is great. I know in the 2000s, Idalou was the winningest team in Texas in the decade. And so to come through and be the group that finally did it, it's just so awesome to bring to Coach Taylor his state championship, and to be a part of that is just awesome. I wouldn't change it for the world, wouldn't change this group, wouldn't change this family, and just proud to be a part of it.
Opening night, you're enjoying that as well. And you mentioned you're also training a little bit. We might see you in the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo.
We'll see. We'll see what God plans. I'm just here having fun, seeing where the road takes us, and we'll go from there.
You enjoy tonight, Bradley. Thanks so much.
Thank y'all for having me.
Aaron, thank you. Another big play for this Shallowater offense. Sparks delivering a strike to Tate Witten, 34 yards for the first down.
Yeah, he's standing in the face. He's taking the heat, is Cutter Sparks. He knows he's going to get hit as he releases the ball, but he throws a perfect pass downfield to an extremely athletic guy. Plays defense, tight end on offense. They kind of move him out in the slot. He's very versatile, very flexible. Tate Witten, they're trying to find ways to get him more touches, and you can see why.
A tight end named Witten making big plays in Texas. That just sounds right, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Has a particular ring to it.
Final minute of this first quarter. Hendrick with space up the gut. Hendrick down to the 20-yard line. Another first down. This Shallowater offense is cruising.
A couple of plays on this series before the long throw, pass and catch from Sparks to Witten. This Idalou defense was getting the fans were getting a little riled up, and the linebackers were flying to the ball and making some stops, and all of a sudden you get this huge strike downfield, and all of a sudden now the Mustangs knocking on the door.
Idalou's defense on its heels, calling a timeout with 33 seconds to go in this first quarter. Let's now head to the Permian Basin. We look in on the Wall Monahans game with Alexa Shaw.
All right, Coach, the excitement is building. The start of football season is here. How are you kind of controlling your team's emotion going into this first game?
You know, this is one of those games they've looked forward to since last year. We lost to them in a tough game last year at their place, and so our kids put it on their calendar as soon as the game was over. You know, we get them at home this year, and so it's something that they look forward to for a long time.
And you played them last season, but what specific challenges do they present this year?
You know, they're a big physical football team that's going to run right at you. They're not going to throw the ball very much. They're going to try to control the ball at the line of scrimmage, and so it's a big test for our defensive players to get those guys off the field and keep the ball in our hands.
Coach, looking forward to a good game. Thank you so much for your time, and back to you guys.
Yeah, Just south of us, Wall, a perennial power in West Texas. Houston guy running that double slot flex bone type offense.
It's tough to stop. The Hawks made it to the state semifinals last year, and as you said, perennial power, certainly from this area.
Shallowater on the move again. Handoff to Zach Aragon on first down. He rumbles inside the 15, gain of 7. Colby Gentry, the tackle for Idalou. And that will be the final play of this first quarter, kicking off the season as we show you the essence of high school football in Texas. Both the towns of Shallowater and Idalou shutting down tonight, getting ready for this game. And Shallowater off to the quick start, a 14-0 lead. Idalou the response late in the period, 14-7 after 12 minutes. Let's send it down to Aaron Hardigan.
Hey, the star power, Ted, in this place here tonight. Dr. Susan Elza. Isn't it? You know it's a big deal when the UIL AD makes her way all the way here to Idaho. Big night, though. Historic for both the UIL and Fox. How cool.
Oh, man, it's look at this crowd and these communities that have come out here tonight. It's a special event. It's a special event for UIL. It's a special event for Fox Southwest, and it's a special event for Texas high school football.
Talk about the loopholes. I mean, I don't know if people understand the loophole, the hoops we had to jump through to get this done.
Well, in June, we got to give some credit to our deputy director, Dr. Jamie Harrison. Steve Simpson from Fox Southwest reached out to him, and we have a rule that had prohibited this. So we took it to our legislative council, and with their blessing and a unanimous vote, we were able to change it to where we'd have a pilot program for 1 year to broadcast 2 games. And this is the one that kicked it off for us.
This is awesome. Again, first ever live televised Texas high school football game. Very cool. It's also a bit bittersweet, and you and I got to talk about it. It's been a tough week. The cool thing about this is these two teams are playing for those in South Texas. Jeff Lofton telling his team, play for the guys who can't tonight. Your thoughts on everything that's unfolded this week?
Well, it's, our thoughts and prayers continue to be with the South Texas area, the coastal region, if you will, and all the schools and all the communities, the players, the families that have been affected by this. And, it's unbelievable how our coaching community has pulled together, and you see all these schools supporting those families that have lost their homes, and it's bittersweet, like we talked about. But those schools will be back, and this will be a good place for them to come back to. It'll get them back to some normalcy, and they can be among their brothers and sisters and classmates and all those things.
One thing we know, Texas is one tough son of a gun, isn't it? Appreciate you being here. Enjoy this game tonight, Doctor.
All right, thank you,
Ted.
Aaron, thank you. This is such a special night. And yes, our hearts go out to everyone. Houston, South Texas, affected by Hurricane Harvey. Shay, you've lived it from Houston. As we're back to play in this second quarter, Sparks on the perimeter, diving for the goal line. That is down. Yep. He is listed down inside the 5. Ball coming out. We'll get a second look at it here, but it'll be first and goal.
Yep. Cutter Sparks, designed run for him, being led by Brody Hendrick. You see right here as he's lunging to go down. Ball clearly causes the fumble. So, yep. There you go. Great effort there by Cody Sparks trying to get the ball into the end zone.
Sparks has been adept as a runner in this first half. First and goal now for Shallowater, trying to build on their lead. Hand it to the bruiser of a running back, Zach Aragon. He's pushed back.
Ooh, Maverick Pierce got through the line of scrimmage quickly and just swallowed Zach Aragon. Zach Aragon's a big guy, 6 foot, 207 pounds.
And Pierce is even bigger at 262 pounds.
Yeah, he kind of made all the white disappear, just got on top and made sure that he was not going to get any positive yards.
Think about Shallowater's small offensive line compared to the big defensive line of Idalou. Aragon at almost 210 is bigger than most of the Shallowater offensive linemen who are blocking for him. Second and goal. Sparks keeping, and he's in standing up. Touchdown Shallowater. Sparks' first score on the ground. 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns for the Mustangs.
Well, in his lead blocker, guess who? Braxton Gerardo, the starting defensive end. They went with a little bit of beef in the backfield. You take a look at that lead block by Gerardo. Cuts the runner down. Cutter Sparks cuts it right behind him. Gets it into the end zone for a score. Great blocking at the point of attack by the Shallowater Mustangs.
Living up to his first name, Cutter Sparks. 21-7 now after the extra point. Sparks has led this offense to the end zone 3 times in 3 drives. Now we join Sarah Merrifield in Katy.
Yeah, thanks. I'm standing outside of Legacy Stadium right now. I would much rather be inside the stadium, as I'm sure the rest of the Katy community, for any normal football Friday night. And the key word is normal there. This town wants to go back to normal. We had a chance to talk to head coach Gary Joseph earlier today, and he mentioned to us that he doesn't want his players to feel shortchanged, or for his seniors that they lost their final season at Katy because of Hurricane Harvey. And he feels the best remedy for that is to get back to practice as soon as possible. They're also pretty confident that come September 15th, they'll be able to pick up right where they left off. We'll send it back to you.
Tell you what, it was fascinating to watch the official Katy football Twitter account this week. More than anything, Katy is just concerned about their players, their families, everyone connected to their program. Katy ISD, all of Houston, the Texas coast, everyone affected. It is so easy to help the victims. A simple text. That's all you need to do to donate to the Red Cross for the relief effort. Jeff Lofton at Idalou, Brian Wood at Shallowater, they have organized donation drives at their respective schools. Everyone is pitching in at what makes Texas so special.
Well, it really is gratifying to see the outpouring of support from so many people, so many different communities, understanding and knowing that the heartache that Southeast Texas and the Gulf Coast is going through. Caballero.
On the kick return, across midfield, Mark Caballero down inside the 40. The kicker, Jackson Kramer, is the one who caught him. Caballero, an impact on special teams, a 52-yard return.
Well, nice job, and that vision coming into play. Plays the one hop very coolly right there at the 5-yard line. Sets up his blockers pretty well. Sees a crease, turns it up. Big positive play, and this is exactly what the Wildcats need, trailing 21-7. Get some momentum plays, get back in this ball.
You know, Idalou has had bigger backs. They've had faster backs. They've had 3,000-yard rushers in their history. Caballero is not the biggest. He's not the fastest. He is so patient, though, and it reveals itself there, just like it did on the previous drive, which ended with a touchdown.
Well, right now, very important for the Wildcats to get back into this game, trailing 21-7. Great starting field position.
Inside the 40-yard line, that power eye look. Gentry, the play fake. Gentry is under duress. Colby Gentry escaping the pocket. He's across the 30. Gentry trying to cut it back, and he's hammered out of bounds. What a scramble by the quarterback. 16 yards, but there is a flag back inside the 45.
Play is coming back. Great
10-yard penalty from the previous.
Great pressure by that Shallowater defense. Idalou trying to go back to the passing game instead of the base run offense. And when Colby Gentry's back there, nowhere to go. But you see 4 or 5 white jerseys are going to get right in the face of Colby Gentry before he breaks it around to the right side. And holding call was called right there at that point.
Caballero, the one tugging at the jersey of outside linebacker Tate Witten. And so instead of 1st and 10 inside the 20, it is now 1st and 20 for Idalou at the 48. Gentry always under center. Power eye. Give it to Rodriguez, the fullback, and he stood up. Gain of a yard or 2. C.J. Easley met Rodriguez in the hole. Easley inserted into the starting lineup for Shallowater as an outside linebacker after the loss of Mitch Stutler, the free safety. Shallowater this week basically changed their base defense. How often do you see that going into the season?
Well, fortunately for the Shallowater Mustangs, it wasn't that big of a transition because they do run that stacked look and they want bodies around the line of scrimmage in this game.
Caballero on the toss. He spun off his feet.
Nothing
at
doing.
The 45. It'll be 3rd down and long for the Wildcats. Gerardo in on the play for Shallowater.
Bryson Gerardo playing on that defensive end position just keeps stringing the plays out. And really, he's been so difficult for this Wildcat offense to get a handle on and get a block on him. He gets blocked, but he doesn't stay blocked. Keeps coming back in, but he's made a ton of plays on the edge, and he's forced Caballero to cut it back inside, which is not where he wants to run.
Gerardo, one of several sophomores who started for Shallowater last year during a 2-9 season. Gerardo actually scored a touchdown in this game a year ago, had to leave in the third quarter with an injury. Before 3rd and 17, Idalou calls time. And will take a timeout. Brian Wood assembling his defense. The true essence of high school football in a small town. We're kicking off the season the right way here in Idalou.
You're watching Texas Football Days on Fox Sports Southwest.
Shallowater up 21-7 in the season opener between these two rivals. We look back the 6A Division I state championship game last year at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. Shay, you were here for this one. Big plays galore. Lake Travis from the greater Austin area. Charlie Brewer over 400 yards and a rout of the Woodlands. Lake Travis's 6th state championship in the last 10 years.
Well, very impressive, and they continue to do it with aggressive, great defense and just explosive offense, playmakers all over the field for them last year. And really, Charlie Brewer, I don't think he could have had a better season. Led the nation in completion percentage as a quarterback. Nothing short of outstanding.
Of course, this is just the first game of our doubleheader. Texas Football Days on Fox Sports Southwest. Coming up, Lake Travis ranked 6th in the preseason AP poll in Class 6A. Will match up with 4th-ranked Converse Judson in the greater San Antonio area. Craig Way, Gary Reasons, Jen Hale will have the call from DW Rutledge Stadium. 3rd and 17, Jeremiah Lorimer scooting out of a little trouble, but he's nowhere close to the first down. On that reverse, Kobe Wood made the tackle for Shallowater.
Well, Lorimer made Wood miss in the open field, but Wood stayed with it, and the layers of defense you'll see continue to come. See right here in the open field, there goes number 1, but guess who's going to make the tackle? Get that pursuit coming. It's number 1, and Hunter Gossett also in there, the sophomore, making plays for the Shallowater Mustang defense.
Wood, the son of head coach Brian Wood, 24 starts at the 5A level the last 2 years at Randall High School in Canyon. Moving down to 3A, Shay, Brian hoped that it would be slow motion for Kobe this year, making plays early on. Idalou showing as if they're going to go for it on 4th down, and a timeout is called. And Idalou calls its final timeout of the half with 8 minutes remaining. So 4th and 9, yeah, Jeff Lofton, Idalou's head coach, said, no, we're not afraid to go for it on 4th down, but what do you think of going for it on 4th and 9 in this territory?
Well, I think right now with the way that the Shallowater Mustang offense is executing, the prudent play is to try to get the ball, pin them deep, and make them go the length of the field.
Well, Idalou, their one state championship came in 2010. 12-3 team under legendary head coach Johnny Taylor. They had great seasons, long runs, but they finally broke through with a state title at the 2A Division II level, beating Lexington 20-3. There is the icon himself, and he's with Aaron Hardigan.
All right, thanks, Ted, the man the legend. That is Idalou, the one, the only, Johnny Taylor. And he shakes his head, but he knows it's true. You're beloved here in the town. How's tonight been for you?
Well, not too good right now. Hopefully we can hold them sometime or another and kind of catch up a little bit. But, you know, first game we've done lots of good things. And Shallowater, they've looked good, so you have to give them a lot of credit. So hopefully it'll get better for Idalou as we go.
Absolutely. I wish we had a Dixie dog here, but we got to get you a Dixie dog here during the game. Hey, like I said, Ted, you can take the coach out of the game. Can't take the game out of the coach. He's sitting here coaching on these sidelines. Hey, I got to know, Coach Lofton's your son-in-law. How did that work out? Get Jeff Lofton marrying the coach's daughter. That's a great story.
That tells you what kind of man he is. He's a good man, and, you know, he puts kids first. And, you know, of course, I gave him a hard time before they got married, but couldn't ask for a better son-in-law, husband, and a father to my grandkids. So, you know, he does a great job for us coaching. So hope we can keep him a long time.
He's got some big shoes to fill. Great things to say about you as always. Of course, Johnny Taylor spent 22 seasons here at Idalou, taking the Cats to 16 different playoffs. And of course, capping it off with that ride into the West Texas sunset, huh? That 2010 state championship. What was that like?
It was super, you know. We started out 1-3, and then we ended up winning 11 in a row, and really played well. Kids did a great job, and the coaches, you know, did a great job getting them ready. And you know, it was an exciting time for all of us, for the community, even for all of Lubbock County. And you know, it's, you know, sometimes it can be just once of a lifetime that happens. You know, so you really have to enjoy it, and it's been great for all of us.
No doubt. And we saw Bradley Atkins on the sideline. He was a receiver on that team. Josh Abbott's song opened up tonight's show, and I know he was the first to mention football maybe wasn't his number one. I think he chose the right career path, but he's a big name to come out as well.
Right. You know, he's made a good name for himself and does really well, and we're proud of him. You know, he was always a hard worker no matter what he was doing, so it was an honor to be in one of his songs. I didn't even know it till somebody sent it to me, and I was listening to it, and I thought, whoa. So that was pretty neat.
You made your music video debut when we made the video with you in it. You were showing off your ring. I told your daughter, Jenny, Coach Lofton's wife, that you made your music video debut. And Tracy Saul's standing behind us here. Right. He doesn't believe me when I told him that you said he was the biggest legend to come out of here.
That's right. I tried to tell him that, but, you know, he won't say anything good about himself. So everybody else has to talk about what kind of man he is and what kind of player he was in high school and college, you know. So he's a pretty special person, and we like that he's from Idalou.
Hey, and lastly, people are probably wondering why we're sitting on this tire here. What's the story behind this being your seat at every game?
Well, I'm going to say it's part of my retirement plan where this is my seat. I get to sit down here and not have to be up in the stands. So that was part of the deal.
Best seat in the house right here, baby. Right. Opening night. You enjoy the rest of the game, Coach, as we kick it back to you, Ted.
Aaron, thank you. It's not like a tractor just broke down and the tires were left there. There's a story behind the tire. They used it for training. The football team still does. Johnny Taylor, no doubt a legend in these parts, inducted in the Texas High School Coaches Association Hall of Honor last year. Face mask penalty on Idalou. Shallowater, again, deep in Wildcat territory. As Sparks on the keeper picks up a yard. But going back to what led to this Shallowater offensive possession, Shay, that turnover on downs, Idalou going for it on 4th and 9. What a stop by the Mustangs defense.
And Drencher got about 8.5 yards, Ted. He was really close to picking up the first down over there on the Shallowater side, but he came up just short. And now the Mustangs effectively executing their offense again, and they're moving it down the field. Brody Hendrick with a couple of good runs, Cutter Sparks with a couple of good runs, and Hunter Gossett, the sophomore wide receiver, down at the bottom of your screen.
Here's Sparks again, tucking it and running, absorbing contact, and it takes 3 Wildcats to bring him down inside the 20. Sparks, another solid run.
Well, Cutter Sparks doing a great job in that offensive front. Ted has just done an outstanding job of walling off and creating lanes for the Shallowater running backs to go. Cutter Sparks taking advantage again of another great performance up front. Man, look at the total yards, yes. 249, and we're midway through the second quarter.
How about the disparity there? Sparks has run for 48 yards and a touchdown on 8 carries. Under 5 minutes to play in this first half. Hendrick trying to knife his way through the middle of the line. He's inside the 15. Maverick Pierce putting the cork on the bottle for Idalou.
And Garrett Tongate, 160-pound, 5'8" guy, playing over there, starting as the left guard. Holt Pierce, biggest one on the line, 200 pounds. And they're navigating and they're pushing the bigger bodies from Idalou out of the way, creating spaces. And you've got to believe that comes from the discipline that Brian Wood talked about him wanting his team to have.
He wants this offense to work on the edges, use the speed to their advantage. 2nd down and 6. Here's a bruiser, Zach Aragon with some physicality, diving close to the 1st down marker, should have it, and it will be 1st and goal for Shallowater.
It's a great combination when you have Brody Hendrick, who we highlighted there just before that snap, lined up in the slot, and then Zach Aragon, who's listed as the backup running back, but you get 2 talented guys in there. Brody Hendrick a little bit more of a slasher, and Aragon more of a bruiser. But good combination there, and Brian Wood so far, who calls his own plays, doesn't have an offensive coordinator, but he knows exactly what he wants his guys to do. And talking about his coaching record, 149 and 58, I mean, you don't amass a coaching record like that and not know what you're doing. He's so at Sunray, at Pampa, and Canyon Randall, just has done a fantastic job, and now back on the sidelines here at Shallowater.
2014, 2015, back-to-back trips to the state quarterfinals in 5A with Randall, losing to Aledo both times. No shame in that. Now the future of the Shallowater and Idalou football teams here at Riddell Field, they are enjoying things. This is a capacity crowd, and with 3:15 to go in this first half, we have a timeout. Shallowater burning its first. As we mentioned, look-in games all across the state. We head to the Valley, Laredo United and San Benito with Owen Newkirk.
Thanks very much. We're getting ready for San Benito versus United, and we just talked to San Benito head coach Dan Gomez. I asked him a couple of questions about not only their winning record here at home, they haven't lost in 2 years, the fact that they haven't won the district under his head coaching reign, but at the same time, they're very much in favor, and the predictions are that this is a team that could challenge for District 32. And of course, last year they went out in the opener in Laredo and beat United by a pretty whopping 26-point margin. Well, of course, United says that they want some revenge. Coach Gomez just told me that he does not think that the margin of victory is going to be anywhere near that large, expects it to be a much tighter game. However, with United breaking in a sophomore quarterback, they are definitely going to, the San Benito Greyhounds, attack the Longhorns' top rusher because they expect that they're going to take him out of the game and force the young quarterback to try to beat them. Of course, we'll see whether the plan goes that way. Let's send it back to you.
Oh, and thank you. Out of the timeout for Shallowater, it's 1st and goal for the Mustangs. Sparks with the spin move to free himself, and he lunges across the 5-yard line. Looked like he was about to be thrown for a loss, and yet he kept his balance to pick up positive yardage.
Well, Salvador Acosta, the defensive back, is going to run right at him and try to bring him down by the shoulder pads, but you see the balance, you see the spin move, and you just see the coordination here. Cutter Sparks, first of all, makes that guy miss. Arm tackle is not going to bring him down. You got to wrap that guy up. Physical with the football and gets it into scoring zone. That's a great run.
You hear that? The pads are popping here in week 1. Better believe it. 2nd and goal now. Out of the gun. Once again, Sparks giving it to Brody Hendrick, who soars into the end zone for the touchdown. Hendrick's 2nd touchdown of this first half. Shallowater is rolling here in Idalou.
Well, talk about hops. Brody Hendricks gets up and over the defenders, spills over into the end zone. Mustangs on fire.
4 possessions, 4 touchdowns to start the season. Yes, this team actually went 2-9 a year ago.
Oh, might have got a hand on
extra
that.
point might have been deflected. It's still good as it just cleared the crossbar. 28-7 as Hendrick finds the end zone for the 2nd time tonight.
Great job of just in good vision, wide receivers downfield blocking, and instead of taking that hit around the 1-yard line, goes airborne, gets it into the end zone, gonna get flipped over here a little bit, hanging onto the ball. Great physical run.
He was 2nd team All-District a year ago, was Hendrick, the leading rusher, almost 900 yards on the season. Good receiver as well, lining up in the slot at times as we have seen tonight. And Hendrick has made an impact thus far. Now we take a look at the preseason AP poll in Class 3A. And Shay, this has been a classification where it seems like it's been wide open year after year. Yes, you know about the quality program like Cameron Yo, the Yeoman down south. They opened the season at number 1. But how about this? The last 14 state champions in 3A, either Division I or Division II, 7 of them were first-time winners. Brock was one of them a couple of years ago.
Absolutely, and you talk about the competitiveness, and don't go to sleep on Yoakum and Bo Robinson. What a great job he did last year getting his team to the state championship game.
Gunter, a surprise 16-0 team a year ago, running that triple option, ranked 3rd to start 2017. Of course, both of these teams here in West Texas on the South Plains, Shallowater and Idalou trying to make their mark in Class 3A. And Shallowater already has a look of a different team after their down season a year ago. Jackson Kramer kicks away. High but short yet again. Fielded by an Idalou up back. Near the 25, and he's driven backwards. Pierce Clary on the return. The backup quarterback also starting at free safety. C.J. Easley on the tackle for Shallowater.
When you talk about these guys too, Ted, it's a relatively hot day out there on the field, and not only are they going both ways, but they also play special teams. And you think about the conditioning that it takes, and Coach Wood saying, one thing that he's done, he said, I've worked these guys really hard. I've worked them hard. Tried to get them into shape, make sure that they know what they're going to get into for the season and get ready for this first game. And so far, the Mustangs look every part of that.
On first down, here's Caballero. Off tackle, and Caballero is smashed. A gain of 1 for the All-State runner. Wade Burt was in there along with a host of his teammates. Gerardo as well.
Well, Caballero's going to run down the right side again, and you see Wade Burt filling the gap beautifully. Gerardo in the backfield again, but there's no lanes. There's limited creases for Caballero, and that's exactly what Coach Wood wanted to do. Load the box. Load the box, make him throw the ball.
And now down 3 scores. Idalou will have to think about that as we near the end of the first half. Gentry dropped the snap, picked it up, and made the most of that. Gain of 2, close to the 30. Austin Wenzel on the tackle. It's hard. Idalou, 2 tight ends, I formation just about all the time. Down by 3 touchdowns. You don't abandon the game plan.
No.
Not late in the first half. But this is not where they want to be.
Well, keep in mind, too, that this Mustang defense, there's not a defender deeper than 8 yards off the line of scrimmage when the ball is snapped. And you see the safeties moving around a little bit with Hendrick and Gossett. Jacoby Woods playing up on the line of scrimmage. The linebackers are right there, and they're all near the line of scrimmage.
3rd and 7. Toss sweep to Caballero. And Braxton Gerardo hunts him down from behind. Gerardo has been everywhere on defense in this first half.
Just knifes right through the block, beats it underneath, and uses great speed to catch Caballero out there on the edge. Gerardo having a monster half so far.
Now, Brian Wood told us yesterday, Shay, he's just a little water bug of a defensive end. I hope he can hold up against this Idalou offensive line. I think he's doing just fine.
Well, the speed and quickness to beat that block and then to know exactly where he's supposed to go and track the ball down to Caballero after he catches the pitch from Gentry, and just a fantastic job by Gerardo. Like I said, he's been living in the backfield this whole first half.
Listed at 5'10", 185, playing defensive end in that 3-man front for Shallowater. Caballero so far, 12 carries, 44 yards, and the touchdown. Tell Brian Wood at the end of the first half, those are Caballero's numbers. He would take that. They have limited the damage from the district MVP Caballero from a year ago. 5 seconds added to the game clock. So 58 left in this first half. And Colby Gentry is on to punt as Caballero is on the sideline. Kobe Wood, the return man for Shallowater. Gentry, the quarterback, also the punter.
And Colby Wood, Ted is not more than 20 yards off the line.
Clean snap this time to Gentry. Sky-high kick. Kobe Wood doesn't want a piece of it. Takes an Idalou bounce for a moment near the 45-yard line, and it's a 27-yard punt for Gentry. Shallowater with 4 touchdowns on 4 possessions. A dream start to 2017 for Brian Wood, taking over this program. Wood returning to coaching after 1 year off as the AD in Canyon. Shallowater can do some damage here. 1 timeout, 48 seconds, the way they have moved it in chunks through the air. Cutter Sparks with a touchdown pass and a score on the ground. Aragon is the running back to his left. Sparks with a clean pocket. He lets it fly, looking for Wood, and an over-the-shoulder catch inside the 25. That's a 42-yard pickup.
Wow, Cutter Sparks. I'm telling you, Ted, in these completions that he's made, deep ones downfield, especially that one to Kobe Wood, he is pinpoint accurate. And Wood, what a magical catch. Great job of catching it over the shoulder, secure the ball in the hands. That's a big-time play.
Brian Wood has to love that, seeing his son making a huge play in his new uniform.
And the defense isn't bad. It's good coverage there by Brock Shelley, but Kobe Wood, just the ball is thrown perfectly over the top. Oh, the outside shoulder, comes up with a great catch on the sideline. Fantastic.
Wood's second team all-district as a receiver at Randall last year. 37 seconds, swing it out to Brody Hendrick. Stiff arm and a spin move inside the 20-yard line for a gain of 3. Third down upcoming as Rodriguez and Harrington made the tackle for Idalou. And Shallowater does call its final timeout. So under 30 seconds remaining in this first half, and Shallowater in a good spot, moving the ball yet again. Now, Kobe Wood in his 3rd year at the varsity level.
Kind of looked like he knew what he was doing on that 9 route, didn't it?
I think so. Pretty good control, too, as he beat the coverage of Shelley.
Well, and he worked his step, made sure that he stayed nimble, inbounds, no worries about it. Just was a perfectly executed play.
You made catches like this all the time at Texas A&M.
Well, I hope I made something like that, but this is, I'm telling you, this is a great pitch and catch, and you like the way that he leaves the space outside so that he can go if he needs it. But with that over-the-shoulder throw, it's just perfectly executed. And couldn't be more impressed with Cutter Sparks and his accuracy, because he's hit Hendricks, he's hit Vanderroost, and he's also hit Kobe Wood on big pass plays in this ball game.
Of course, coming up at the half, we will send you to our Fox Sports Southwest studios. Leslie McCaslin and Coach Brad McCoy will take care of you. We'll also have a feature on former Shallowater great Jarek Black. You want to stay tuned for that. Cutter Sparks perfect through the air. 5 for 5 for 171 yards. Now 3rd and 7. Final seconds of this first half. Sparks looking to the sideline. He's got Wood coming back to the ball. 1st and goal at the 9 now. Clock stops at 24 seconds.
Has the ISO route, one-on-one man coverage. Sparks rolls out to his right, throws a perfect pass, and Wood got control, catches the ball, makes sure he gets a foot down. Again, another beautifully executed play out on the edge. Shallowater and Brian Wood, he doesn't really want to be a 50-50 throw the ball guy. His offense really is a 70-80% run, but with the people that he has and the players that he has right now, he's having to make do. And man, make do is what he is doing.
Cutter Sparks to Kobe Wood to finish off the drive. That whole possession was Sparks to Wood. Shallowater has turned this into a rout in the first half.
Another nice job, that offensive front, again, giving Cutter Sparks the time that he needs. You see as he just takes a step down, looks, knows that he's got his receiver wide open, beats the coverage inside, and Kobe Wood comes up with a touchdown score.
3 catches for Wood tonight. They all came on that drive. Kramer with the extra point, now 35-7. Shallowater, just 2 wins a year ago. Kobe Wood, part of that talent infusion for the Mustangs, capping off the drive on the slant. Now, Kobe Wood, coming from Canyon Randall, certainly knows his dad's system. And Brian Wood told us earlier this week, Shay, that Kobe was going to be relied upon to be that coach on the field, off the field, when it comes to terminology, when it comes to scheme, when it comes to what his dad, what the new head coach is asking for, and Kobe Wood has been that team captain and then some.
Well, the thing that really is impressive to me as well, Ted, is that Kobe Wood, he didn't come from a bigger school down to a smaller school with with any kind of ego like that. He's busted his tail. He's worked just as hard as everyone else. He's led them because he knows what the expectations are. He understands that if you do these things, you will be successful. And for him to come down in a couple of classifications, but want to compete, want to play for his dad, I mean, it just speaks volumes about the kid and the relationship that he and his dad have.
Brian Wood laughed about it. Yeah, I made my son come here. Actually, as he explained later, the decision was totally up to Kobe. Do you want to pick up and move south here to Shallowater for your senior year? And he said, Dad, I would love for you to coach me again. Fumble on the kick return after the big pop. Salvador Acosta gave it up. Shallowater thinks they have it along the boundary.
Austin Wenzel.
No call just yet. Wenzel was there. You're right, Shay. Wenzel jarring the ball free, and his teammate was able to field the ball on the carom. Caleb White, the starter at corner out there on special teams. It's Shallowater ball with 17 seconds. Well, officials holding a summit, and they do award it to Idalou. So Acosta apparently was down. Of course, no replay at the high school level. White sure looked like he had it, but Idalou football with 17 seconds. Gentry sprinting out. He's cut down. Nice play on the perimeter by Austin Wenzel, who made that hit on the kick coverage.
Well, Austin Wenzel came like a laser beam closing down the line from his linebacker spot. He was just tracking Gentry the whole way. Colby Gentry thought he had a little bit of room out on the edge, but Wenzel closed the window on him quickly.
What a start to the season for Shallowater in this rivalry game. Part of Texas Football Days on Fox Sports Southwest. Historic night all across the state. Shallowater trouncing their rival Idalou 35-7 at the break. We send it down to Aaron Hardigan.
Coach, is this the start you expected?
I don't know how it could go better at this point, but we also know that that's just a half. We got to go get rested up and come back and try to do it again.
What are you doing well? What's going right?
Well, I think we're controlling the ball. Like I told you, we had to control the ball, and I think we've done that pretty well. And when you can do that, and we played pretty good defense, that's a good combination.
With Caballero on the other side, what's the message to these boys at half?
Well, I like it when he's standing on the sideline, not because of injury or anything, just because they don't have the ball. Our message will be to finish. We got to finish. It's 0-0, just like every other coach is going to say in the state of Texas. Hey. But it's the truth.
We'll let you get in there, Coach. Thanks, Ted.
Aaron, thank you. Brian Wood's first game back on the sideline since 2015, and his offense has been high-powered. A 35-7 lead for Shallowater. Coming up, Leslie McCaslin and Brad McCoy in our Fox Sports Southwest studio, plus a poignant feature on Jarrett Black, former Shallowater star. You're watching Texas Football Days on Fox Sports Southwest.
Well, it is halftime of our first big matchup of the night between Idalou and Shallowater. Right now, they are leading 35-7, and Brad McCoy joins me once again. Might be a little bit of a surprise considering the fact that Shallowater was 2-9 last year, Idalou 8-4. But what did you see from the first half?
Well, just, the teams were ready to play, both of them, but Shallowater's got the edge emotionally right now.
New coach, new system, kids are buying in, and they're just playing really hard.
What's impressed you about the way that they've been able to score easily so far tonight?
Well, the impressive part to me is Cutter Sparks. I mean, he's done everything right so far. I mean, I think he's 9 of 9 for over 150 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and so accurate and really throwing off the run. He's got some drop backs that would have been really well, but they've sprinted him out both ways, and he's deadly accurate. So that's the big impression for me is how the quarterback's playing right now.
Can I just say that my favorite football name was Colt McCoy until maybe now, because Cutter Sparks, I just don't think you get any cooler than that.
It's a pretty cool name. Yeah, it really is. Of course, I'm a little partial to Colt, so you'll have to give me that one.
Sorry, Colt. Okay, it's still a toss-up. All right, well, Shallowater obviously with the edge right now at halftime, 35-7. But one of their favorite sons is a guy named Jarek Black, who rushed for over 7,000 yards and had a promising college career heading his way. And then his future changed in an instant. Here's more.
I tell people I remember almost every touchdown I've ever run.
Jarek Black found his way to the end zone a lot for the Mustangs, putting Shallowater on the map of high school football. He was a big fish in a small pond. Population 2,484. And on Friday nights, fans could always count on Black to carry the ball.
I guess if you ask any guy who's considered that guy, it's a great experience. It's a lot of pressure because you're not only just that guy, but you have to be a leader, and I think it's a big responsibility.
He's fast and he's powerful. It was awe almost, because I mean, I've been raised around football. I love football, and it was just so cool to me that was him, that he was mine.
The biggest star to emerge from the program, Black joined the state's best players his junior year and only improved during his senior season. He recorded 7,078 career yards, setting up a promising career at West Texas A&M. But in the fall of his freshman year, it all changed with a pop.
It was just a simple morning going in, and we're gonna lift 6 a.m. weights, normal squats, and I went down and I just felt this pop and like a surge, electric surge through my legs.
I knew he was going to the doctor, and just kind of had a mama's instinct.
He pulled it up, looked at the x-rays, and then looked at me and said, I have to go get you another appointment with a surgeon, and ran out of the room.
I just remember thinking, how, after everything, does it end like this?
In a matter of 5 hours, I mean, my whole career was changed.
The x-rays revealed more than just a one-time injury. Jarek learned about an undiagnosed birth defect that left him with a weak spine. And with 12 years of contact football under his belt, doctors say Jarek is fortunate to walk away.
He said, there's no reason why you shouldn't be in a wheelchair right now. He said, it's like your back's broken multiple times. And he said, and you've just been lucky. He said, you've got an angel watching out for you.
I don't know, in many ways I feel like he was robbed. Because he's a good kid, and he was a great athlete. And he deserved his shot. I wish I'd have known that I was watching him play the last time. And I really wish that I had just really taken advantage of that moment so that I would have known this is the last time I'm going to get to watch him.
Time heals all wounds. And although Jarek will never play football again, time healed his heart to accept the game he loved so dearly back into his life.
Once I realized what I wanted to do with my life, I wanted to be a coach, wanted to help the game and be a part of the game in the way that I can't anymore. That's when I kind of realized, like, don't be sad about it. Just pick yourself up and keep going.
His attitude and courage through this life-changing experience is what Shallowater honors him by, a hometown hero who faced adversity and persevered.
It was huge for our town to have somebody to kind of rally around that they knew was a good kid. He was just really easy to cheer for.
Now, Jarek cheers from the sidelines at his alma mater, celebrating a team and a sport that made him who he is today.
Well, a blessing in disguise, but sure doesn't help with the major disappointment when the game you love is taken away from you. I'm sure you witnessed this as a head coach many times.
Sure, it's the hard part of coaching because football is a tough game. There's always going to be injuries. You know, thankfully it teaches things that are difficult to learn. Football's a tough game, and it taught us how to do things better after the game was over. So such a life lesson game that we learned from a difficult sport.
Well, we know that he is cheering on Shallowater tonight. They are leading 35-7 at halftime. But our second game of the night, Lake Travis arriving at Converse Judson, the 5-state title championship team.
You're watching Texas Football Days on Fox Sports Southwest.
Well, welcome back to Texas High School Football Days. Obviously, we're at halftime of Shallowater and Idalou. They lead 35-7, but game 2 of our doubleheader is between two Texas powerhouses, Lake Travis and Converse Judson. Here's Greg Way and Gary Reasons with more.
Leslie, thank you. Over the years, there have been some tremendous high school football games played in the San Antonio area, and no greater program over the decades than right here on the northeast side in Converse at Judson High School. Craig Way alongside Gary Reasons, and it is opening night. No matter where you are in the state of Texas, it's something special.
Yeah, and it's fun to get back to football. Friday nights is really special in Texas, and we've got two programs that are very storied, Legacy and Championships. We're going to have a good one tonight.
Like anywhere else in the state of Texas, high school football on Friday usually begins with the pep rally, and that gets everybody off to a really jazzed up start for the game.
Yeah, they had a lot of fun today. Our team was there to cover it, and these guys are ready to play. The students are going to be out in full force. It's going to be a fun night here in Judson.
Well, the Rockets bring plenty of spirit, but they also bring plenty of weapons to the party. And if you're talking about the Judson Rockets, you have to start with their outstanding quarterback, Jalon Williams, who makes a real difference for them.
Well, Jalon does a great job running this offense, and he is a very talented young man. He's a dual-threat quarterback. He's very, very explosive. Coach McAuliffe says, hey, I just want to turn him loose and see what he does. He's an exceptional athlete, and he leads his football team. 2 state semifinal appearances for him over the last couple of years. They want to get to the state championship game. That's their goal.
Well, in order to get past that, they might have to beat Lake Travis, and that means going up against Matthew Baldwin, the latest in that long line of great Cavalier quarterbacks.
Yeah, Matthew Baldwin played a lot last year, but he had to wait his turn to get in line. He's a senior quarterback, never started. He's an exceptional talent with great. He's got a scholarship offer already waiting for him, and he hasn't started a football game.
So it should be a lot of fun. It's Lake Travis and Converse Judson. We have more coming up from Idalou. Stay with us.
Performing. Welcome back to Red Hill Stadium and Idalou on the plains of West Texas. Shallowater band performing happily with a very comfortable 35-7 lead at the half over the hometown Wildcats. Aaron Hardigan and Coach Ken Purcell welcoming you in here at the break, where I got to admit, we're both a little shocked at the lopsided score here tonight. Figured it'd be a bit more competitive, but what's going right here for Shallowater, Coach? Clearly a lot.
Well, for Shallowater, everything's going right. He's got a great game plan. He's throwing the ball. He's throwing it, scoring. He's running and scoring. His son, I've watched very closely. He's really a field general out there. He's doing a great job.
Take us through each of these drives. Now, this was the first one, and within the first minute of the game, and you thought, oh, no.
And the thing is, he got behind the coverage on that. He was wide open.
And then the second one, they kept – no, what did they keep doing right? What did they keep doing well? Take us through it.
Well, they're blocking everyone off their feet. They're doing a great job of blocking. You can see right here, the backs have got a hole, and the linemen are getting great blocks.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, you talked about Cutter Sparks, his control of the offense, and not to mention the player who lives with head coach Brian Wood and his son Kobe.
You bet. And that slant route on the final score was just set up all night.
Yeah, Kobe Wood with the final score there just before the half. It's a three-headed monster here for Brian Wood. Quite the group here for him in his first year. Hard to believe here at Shallowater.
And that is exceptional because you've brought a new program in, a new offense in. Now, he did keep the Shallowater defense and the defensive staff from last year. So that really helps you. His defense is playing well.
Yeah, and you mentioned the numbers, Coach, you mentioned in the first half. Look at that total yardage.
Oh, yeah, total yardage is amazing there. I'm really shocked because I met with both of these coaches, and I didn't think it would be this at all. Idalou just seems to be off balance tonight. Everything they're trying to do seems to go wrong.
It could be the commotion. I did talk to the superintendent of the Idalou School District, and he mentioned that it's still a great atmosphere here tonight. You still feel the spirit from the Idalou sideline, so we could be in for a stellar second half comeback. Idalou's known for those against Shallowater. Second half is after this.
You're watching Texas Football Days on Fox Sports Southwest.
High school football in Texas is just like the state of Texas, big. Everything is big. Everything accentuated. Everything is blown up. And that's how football is in Texas, especially in high school. Friday Night Lights is a real thing.
Westbury High School's own Michael Strahan. It is a historic night here on Fox Sports Southwest, Texas Football Days. And as we get ready for the start of the third quarter, Shallowater putting it on their rival Idalou 35-7 here in Idalou. Ted Emmerich, Shea Walker, Aaron Hardigan, our entire crew. First half of a doubleheader here on Fox Sports Southwest. This in West Texas, illustrating that unmistakable bond between a town and its team. Both towns, 23 miles apart, have shut down for the night. And I'll tell you what, Shallowater shut things down offensively. Idalou with a country music star that they can claim as one of their own as they make their way back on the field in this second half. Josh Abbott welcoming us back.
There's faded paint down Walnut Street. That's the cotton gin where the farmers meets. And there's the water tower I never had the guts to climb. Coach Taylor retired after finally winning state. They'll all move on, but the stories will stay the same. She'll pick you up and pull you down. In every ways when they're driving through our little town. Yeah, the faces may change, the last names never do. It's a beautiful way of life in Idalou.
Josh Abbott, class of 1998 here in Idalou, but he and everyone cheering for the Wildcats are hoping for a comeback at this point, down 35-7 on their home field to kick off the season against their rival Shallowater. Ted and Shea upstairs. Tell you what, the Shallowater offense has been impressive from the start. See, you wouldn't know that they won only 2 games last year.
Well, absolutely not. And Ted, what really they're doing that is so impressive is Holt Pierce, Evan Sawyer, Pierce Johnson, Garrett Tongate, Duenas. That offensive line for Shallowater is giving Cutter Sparks the time that he needs to locate receivers downfield. Brody Hendricks come up big, Hayden Vander Roost, and certainly Kobe Wood on that drive to put it into the end zone late in the first half.
Idalou does have the ball to start this second half, down by 4 touchdowns. Xavier Rodriguez, the up back, fielding it, and he's able to push his way across the 35-yard line, a return of 23 yards. So just before halftime, Shallowater put together an epic drive. Cutter Sparks to Kobe Wood 3 times, and it resulted in a touchdown.
Well, again, great passing and this outstanding throw and catch. Kobe Wood here, and this is on third down, Ted, when they needed to get it, move the chains. Kobe Wood comes up big and down, a little quick slant, gets him into the end zone, a touchdown. Just a dominating possession by Kobe Wood and Cutter Sparks.
First 3 catches of the night. That made it 35-7. Now can Idalou rally? Toss to Mark Caballero, and he is knocked down behind the line of scrimmage. Loss of a yard.
Tate Whitten, there again, just these Shallowater Mustang defenders, although they're undersized relative to the Idalou offensive line, they're beating them to the points where they want to be. That's discipline, that's coaching, and they're in good condition and good shape, and they're continuing to cause havoc and make negative plays for this Idalou offense.
Caballero now with 45 yards and a touchdown on 13 carries. Toss it to Caballero, coming this way this time. Positive yardage here, close to the 45-yard line. Gain of 8, Wade Burt and Kobe Woods starting at corner in addition to receiver with the tackle. So it'll be 3rd down and 4 coming up.
Now, without that negative play, if they would have just got no yards on 1st down, then it would be 3rd and 2. But give Mark Caballero a lot of credit because lowered his shoulder then, didn't try to do a lot of dancing, made sure he was going to pick up positive yards.
One more toss to Caballero on 3rd down. Shifty in the hips, Caballero able to turn his direction, and he picks up the 1st down close to midfield. Ryan Eller on the stop. So Idalou moves the chains. They just need to be able to put something positive together.
You're on 3rd down. You've got to get there, and you see the white jerseys in the backfield, Ted, and Caballero doing a nice job of setting up those blocks, cutting it back to the inside, and fighting to get the 1st down.
And how about his quarterback, Colby Gentry, delivering that block? 3rd time we've seen this flea flicker. And once again, it's Braxton Gerardo with the sack of Colby Gentry back at the 42-yard line. Loss of 7.
So the movement between Caballero and Gentry, by the time that Gentry gets the ball back, Gerardo is already in the backfield. He is right in the face of the quarterback, and there's really nothing that Colby Gentry can do except take the sack.
Gerardo led Shallowater with 5 sacks a year ago. He's already got a couple here tonight. 2nd and 17. Idalou back in its own end. Here is Caballero picking his way to the 45. Jonathan Calderon, the nose guard, in on the tackle. Biggest kid at Shallowater High School, 260 pounds, stands 6'3", never played defense before this year, and had never played football, period, before his junior season.
Well, and Coach Wood told us, Ted, that Calderon is the big body, so he's going to line him up on that nose, and he's going to be there all game. He said to Calderon, said, Coach, I'm not sure if I can play this position. He goes, you can play. You can play this position. And what a great play he just made on that last effort.
3rd and 14. Caballero to the perimeter. Blockers in front. Caballero to the 45. He needed a couple more yards. That's what'll happen when you're behind the chains like Idalou was. Good gain, but it's 4th down.
Nice job again, the vision, the cut, the shiftiness. You can see why Caballero was over 1,800 yards last year and 24 touchdowns. But you said that correctly, is that you get behind the chains, then you get yourself down in a 4th and 3. This Shallowater defense beefing up just sent C.J. Easley back into the game to be that extra linebacker on that layer where they want to have those 4 or 5 guys near around the line of scrimmage, and he's up there at the top of your screen there.
4th and 2, Idalou going for it. Caballero up the seam, 1st down and more across the 35, close to the 30.
Well, a great lead block there by Cooper Flanagan. You're going to see down here at the end of Caballero's run, you're going to see big number 52 leaning down on the linebacker, creating some space, and Salvador Acosta getting a good block as well. Caballero doing a nice job on 4th down, picking up that 1st.
So Idalou taking the kickoff to start this 2nd half, now setting up at the 30 of Shallowater, trying to get back into this one. Caballero trying to turn it outside. He's chopped down at around the 26. Gain of 4. Wade Burt, the inside linebacker, on the play. Shallowater's defense last year gave up an average of 36 points a game. As for Caballero, most of his yardage has come on this drive to start the 3rd quarter.
Now C.J. Easley running on the field, back off the field, trying to make sure that they've got the right schemes ready, and Caballero with another handoff.
And Caballero is taken down by Luke Duenas. Caballero trying to slip past the 200-pound defensive lineman, but Duenas held on.
Great open field tackle by Duenas on that defensive end. Caballero very shifty in the open field, but he couldn't shake the tackle there. Duenas doing a great job of bringing Caballero down.
And Caballero giving up 50 pounds in that exchange. Duenas starting both ways at guard on offense and defensive end on this side. 3rd and 4 now for Idalou. Corbin Ruiz is checked in at fullback, leading the way for Caballero on this sweep. And Caballero doesn't pick up the first down. Austin Wenzel rallying to the ball along with his teammates. 4th and 3.
Going for it again. You got to believe Coach Lofton at this point in the field and on the drive. They've gone for it once on 4th down already, and you got to believe he's going to roll the dice again.
And Idalou has a weapon at kicker in Landon Reeves, first team All-District a year ago. As you see, Mark Caballero stepping off the field, shaken up after that latest carry. It has been a steady dose of Caballero to start this 3rd quarter. 4th and 3, so without Caballero, here's Xavier Rodriguez at tailback, trying to turn the corner. Nothing doing. Wenzel out there on the edge for the Shallowater defense, and it's a turnover on downs.
Ted, you talked about it earlier in this drive, but when you get behind the chains, it makes it so difficult. And on 4th down, Shallowater Mustangs are doing an outstanding job of closing off those running lanes. Some of them get blocked, stay blocked, but the rest of the guys are piling up bodies and making sure that the runners don't have any room to pick up positive yards.
This Shallowater defense struggled so much last year as Jeff Lofton, Idalou's head coach, looks on. Brian Wood taking over, kept the entire defensive coaching staff, though. Zach Aragon with the carry to start the possession for Shallowater. Positive gain, but Steve Adams returns at coordinator. This is a team that gave up 40-plus points 5 times last year during a 2-9 season, and they've looked so good against an Idalou running game that ran over everybody last year.
Well, it's been impressive to watch them play. In the thing, Ted, that defensively, what you have to do is you have to fill the gaps. And right now, the Shallowater Mustangs absolutely are filling the gaps, not allowing any creases, and then forcing the run game out wide where you've got these speedy guys on those defensive ends with Gerardo, and just outstanding defensive scheme so far.
Low snap, Cutter Sparks picking it up, running to the edge, and he is lit up by the safety, Salvador Acosta. A flag is down.
It looked to me like Cutter Sparks took a step to the right, or either the ball was too far to his left, and that's a picture-perfect tackle there by
on the
Acosta.
defense, number 81, 5-yard penalty, repeat, 2nd down.
Oh, just when Idalou needs something to go right. Big play on defense, and now it'll be a better situation for Shallowater trying to continue this drive. And it is a 1st down. So a fresh set of downs for the Mustangs, scored on all 5 of their possessions against Jeff Lofton's defense in the first half. Cutter Sparks perfect through the air, 7 for 7, 190 yards and 2 scores. Now from the 33. Sparks giving to Aragon, and the whistles blow the play dead.
Prior to the snap, all start. Number 58 on the offense. The penalty, still 1st down.
That strong side tackle, Brady Newton, the biggest offensive lineman Shallowater has at 215 pounds. Penalties haven't been much of an issue for either team. Not bad for an opener. Just the 4th penalty against Shallowater here tonight. So 1st and 15 now. Brody Hendrick, who has run for 2 touchdowns, is in the slot to the left. Sparks keeping to the right. Sparks with space and diving across the 35-yard line. Down to Aaron Hardigan.
Hey, Ted, you know, talking to the coaches this week, they both mentioned that this game here is a tone setter for the season, and it's really never over until it's actually over, which sounds cliche, but we've seen in recent history here, Ted, that Idalou has proven it is indeed never over until it is over. I'd like to remind folks of the 2015 matchup between these two. Idalou down 32-0 at that half before coming out shutting the Mustangs out in the second half. Went on to win 36-32, a 13-1 record for the Wildcats that season. So indeed a tone setter. They went on to the state semifinal, so that really propelled them this season. Something to keep an eye on in this game tonight, guys.
No doubt, Aaron, but first they got to stop this Shallowater offense. Brody Hendrick with another big run, and Jeff Lofton is searching for answers defensively.
When you like the way that Brian Wood is using Brody Hendrick, had him out in the slot again, and he's taking that speed handoff on the inside, and he's making the edge, forcing that Idalou defense to stretch out a little bit more. But Hendrick doing a fantastic job. He's been running tough tonight, and he's made a couple big plays with his hands in the receiving position.
But the disparity in total offense. Give it to Aragon. Second effort after he was hit near the line of scrimmage. Gain of about 3 here to bring up 2nd down and 7. Corbin Ruiz made the tackle. Aragon, the inside runner. Hendrick, the outside runner, the Swiss Army knife for the Shallowater offense, lining up at receiver and running back. It's a good combination that's working for the Mustangs so far. And Shallowater content to take its time, approaching the 3-minute mark of this third quarter. A rivalry game in West Texas to kick off Texas football days. Hendrick with room, flag is down, turning on the Jets as he's tugged down from behind inside the 5-yard line. It's a 43-yard burst by Hendrick if it stands.
Number 50 offense. 10-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
It won't stand. Brady Newton, 2nd penalty of the drive.
Great job of blocking at the point of attack, forgiving the hold in this situation, but a good job when you see that Shallowater offensive line, again, undersized. But you mentioned the disparity in offense, Ted, and it's staggering that Shallowater is having so much success getting into the open space. I mean, not that they're not making good plays, but just getting to the open space where you have an opportunity to make a play. And so far for Brody Hendrick, Zach Aragon, they've had that opportunity. The offensive line doing an outstanding job.
Brian Wood took over a team that was beaten down repeatedly last year, and he said, hey, right now they are buying what we're selling as a coaching staff, and that is apparent here tonight. Aragon trying to bounce it out, and he is taken down. Cooper Flanagan, among others. One thing that Wood told us, Shay, is that they have never had to redo a sprint in the last month. The hard work, the work ethic of Shallowater definitely on display during fall camp as Shallowater was getting ready for this season. And Wood told us, hey, we're not the biggest, we're not the strongest, that's for sure, but we work, and we hope that that helps us. We're going to be in good condition in week 1.
And he said it may take us to the third quarter, it may take us into the fourth quarter, but we're going to be in condition. And Hunter Gossett, nice job filling in for the injured Mitch Stutler. Comes up with a big catch. Only a sophomore. Gossett's got good speed, big long frame, but nice job of picking up positive yards.
First varsity catch for Hunter Gossett, one of 2 sophomores on the varsity roster for Shallowater. Mustangs played several sophomores a year ago. And now on 4th down, Shallowater will punt for the first time tonight. Kobe Wood was 2nd team All-District as a punter at Randall a year ago in the Panhandle. He is here to do the honors. Salvador Acosta, the return man for Idalou. High kick from Wood. Acosta thinking about fielding it on the bounce, and he makes a wise decision. Killed inside the 20-yard line, and Wood is down. After putting the boot to leather, Kobe Wood dropped to his feet, and he needs medical attention, hopefully just a cramp here in the season opener. Oh, Wood hasn't left the field, playing receiver, cornerback, and special teams. He and his dad, Brian Wood, the new head coach at Shallowater, feeling good right now. Up 35-7 in the season opener. Texas Football Days on Fox Sports Southwest.
You're watching Texas Football Days on Fox Sports Southwest.
Season opener here on the South Plains between Shallowater and Idalou, but here on Texas Football Days, we are looking into the rest of the state. To East Texas, Gladewater and Carthage. Whitley present with Carthage head coach Scott Surratt.
So, Coach, it's the first game of this season, and you're lucky enough to kick it off right here at Bulldog Stadium. Tell me, what has this week been like for you and the team?
Oh, it's very exciting. You know, the first week's always exciting, and we can't wait to see their eyes when they come out, run through our tunnel on Friday night. That's a very special feeling.
And on this Friday night, you're going up a run-oriented team, Gladewater, right behind Isaiah Davis, and they typically leave the defense on the field a lot longer than normal. So what are you going to do to prevent your defense from getting too fatigued too early?
Well, hopefully we got to be physical and stop the run a little bit. We can't stop it. We're going to have to control it. And, you know, Isaiah's a great player, so it's going to be exciting. It's going to be challenging. But we got to control the pace some, too. You know, we may go fast and they may go slow, but hopefully we can dictate the pace.
All right, Coach, and good luck tonight.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, we'll send it back to you guys.
Whitley, thanks so much. Carthage, such a dominant program. Now at Class 4A, used to be 3A. Scott Surratt has created a monster in East Texas.
He has. Year in, year out. I mean, you have to figure Carthage Bulldogs, they're going to be deep in the playoffs. They're playing for the title.
Mark Caballero cramping up here in week one. It's a common sight all across the state. The heat of Texas bearing down. And even the All-State running back is prone to it. You see him rolling the calf. Medical trainer attending to Caballero.
Well, Kobe Wood also went out. Now, Hunter Gossett, the sophomore, is down playing the cornerback position where Wood was.
Option pitch to Xavier Rodriguez, taking Caballero's place. Gain of about 5 to the 20-yard line. Braxton Gerardo out there on the perimeter for Shallowater.
And how about Brody Hendrick coming in to help with that tackle to bring him down? I mean, here's your starting running back. And again, we talk about these guys. They're familiar with playing both ways, but great angle to the ball, and he just upends Rodriguez.
Final minute of this third quarter here at Riddell Field in Idalou, just 7 miles northeast of Lubbock. Rodriguez remains the tailback on 2nd and 6. Gets the call again. Rodriguez picking his way across the 25. Flag is down on the field. Hayden Vanderroost was in on the tackle.
Holding. Number 52 on the offense. 10-yard penalty. Still second down.
Cooper Flanagan, the first-year starter at center, with the penalty for Idalou. Flanagan is so important to this Wildcats offensive line. Played a little defensive end on the varsity late last year. It all starts with him making the calls up front. As Jeff Lofton tells his offense, hey, everything we do goes through the line. That's where it starts. Yes, Mark Caballero will get all the headlines, all the praise, but it starts with that O-line.
Well, and you're right, Ted, and it's a complicated blocking scheme because you've got to be able to read the defensive fronts, and they run this 2 tight end offense. So to get into it live game situations, Cooper Flanagan's got a lot on his plate. He's done a good job so far. He's gotten called for a couple of holding penalties, but this Shallowater defense is creating all kinds of havoc in the running lanes.
There is C.J. Easley dropping Colby Gentry on the final play of this third quarter. It was 35-7 Shallowater at halftime, and that's our score heading to the fourth quarter in the first Friday night regular season game to be televised live. Texas Football Days here on Fox Sports Southwest. It's all Shallowater here in West Texas. Let's head north to the Panhandle. Bushland and Canadian. Julie Dobbs.
Well, football is underway here in Canadian Texas, and so much of the state of Texas is still reeling from the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey. And head coach of the Canadian Wildcats, Chris Kading, very much knows that is the case. Before this game, he had a nice heartfelt speech with his team before they kicked off.
this is payday now. All that hard work you've been doing, this is payday, okay? At our house, on our field, okay? Guys, it's going to be a great atmosphere out there. I'll tell you what, you better enjoy every second of it. There's a bunch of guys down south that aren't getting to play tonight, all right? You better take advantage of this opportunity that you're getting right now. And you give it your all. You leave it all. That's what you guys said. Leave it all. Leave it all. Do that, and we win this game, okay? Yes, sir. Hey, play to our standard. You know what that standard is. We're going to run and hit people. We're going to execute on offense, and we're going to go for the whole time. Every snap. Every snap. We're never letting up, okay? Wyatt, this morning at the pep rally, you said that about, hey, something's going to go wrong during this game at some point tonight, isn't it? We're going to have something not go our way. How are we going to handle it? I love that, Wyatt. I love it. How are we going to handle it? Okay? You're going to go to the next play, and you're going to get the job done, okay? Yes, sir. Are you ready? Yes, sir. Are you ready? Yes, sir. All right, let's go. Come on. Who's back? Wildcats! What do we do?
I'm fired up now.
Well, Coach,
aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. You know he knows how to get it done, and he's got the Wildcats to the state semifinals last year. Canadian always a threat to go deep into the playoffs, and just an amazing job that he's done there.
Start of the fourth quarter here in the South Plains. Shallowater with the 35-7 lead, and on 3rd and 15, Colby Gentry wanted Jeremiah Lorimer over the middle, could not make the grab. And now Brody Hendrick is down on the field for Shallowater, going both ways, playing running back and safety. Looks like he's cramping up, just like his teammate Kobe Wood was late in the third quarter. It is week one, and going both ways, just never coming off the field, eventually takes its toll.
But you say week one. Both of these teams have had scrimmages, and both of these teams have condition, but I'm going to tell you, there's nothing like game day when you're playing in the game. It's just more intense, and the pressure is there. And so these kids, it's not uncommon to see them, Ted, as you said earlier, cramping up. Caballero, Kobe Wood out, Hendricks out. I mean, star players, guys that are moving around, running all over the field.
Cutter Sparks was out there to field the punt with Kobe Wood on the sideline with the cramps. Down to Aaron Hardigan with both superintendents of Shallowater and Idalou.
And Ted, I'm back on the tire. In fact, there's a good story about that. I'll explain that in a bit. Jim Waller, Kenny Border, both superintendents for Idalou and Shallowater. They mentioned that we were back on the tire, so I feel like we should explain.
Explain why we're on the tire, Aaron.
Probably explain. It's a great story between the two of you. I'll let you do the honors.
You know, a couple of years ago, we played, and we had a district rule where no one could be on the field. And I was standing up in the press box, and I happened to notice that there was a Shallowater superintendent sitting on the tire. And so I had my brand new principal come down here and tell him that he needed to remove himself from the tire. So he gets all ugly. He gets all ugly to my principal and says, "You tell him," and I can't repeat what he told me to tell him. And so my principal calls me up on the phone and said, "Mr. Waller, he's not wanting to get off that tire." So this year, we made sure, because he wanted to sit on Johnny Taylor's tire. So we made sure and got him.
I even had to ask for permission.
I know, it's a great tire. So we got him a tire, and we got him a little sign that said reserved seating for.
Look at that.
That's sweet, Waller. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
But you didn't take him up on it. I had to drag you over.
No. You're looking at a legend behind me. You're not going to disrespect Johnny Taylor. He's not only a legend in Idalou, he's a legend in the great state of Texas. And I don't deserve to sit on the Johnny Taylor tire.
Hey, none of us do. I was terrified sitting there interviewing a little bit ago. Hey, your new head coach, Brian Wood, had nothing but great things to say about Johnny Taylor. How about Brian Wood?
Brian's exceptional. You know what tonight represents is just two storied programs battling it out on the field, and you know both school districts are successful not only at football but academics and other UIL athletic events, and it's just great to see two communities come together and support exceptional children.
Absolutely, and we've mentioned that in the history of this rivalry here, it's never over till it's over.
Never over till it's over, but Shallowater, they played really well tonight. Our boys have too, but Shallowater is just the better team tonight, and I have to give Shallowater, not their superintendent, I have to give Shallowater complete credit. No, actually, I like this guy. He's a good guy. I don't like to say that too often, and I'm saying it in front of everybody now, but like he said, they're two really good schools, have really good communities, and proud to be on Fox Sports talking about it.
Hey, I'll say on behalf of Fox, thank you two for being so accommodating and making this a great night for us.
Y'all made it great for our kids. You know, there's millions of Texas high school athletes who can never say they've been on a TV game, and we got two teams right here that's on the first as it relates to Week 1 football.
First ever, baby, going down in the TV history books here tonight. Thank you guys for making time for us on the tire.
Appreciate it.
Ted, fun times with these two.
Oh, there's no doubt. Yes, there is the tire for Shallowater Superintendent Kenny Border. It's a smaller tire than the one that Johnny Taylor sits on, but that'll do the job. Hey, we know the rivalry between these two schools. You can also sense the respect between these two schools and their leadership. Sparks' pass is complete to Tyler Williams, but knocked down immediately. Flag is down. You know, Kenny Border told us earlier this week, Shay, hey, these were district foes for years. It's not the case now. They have not been in the same district since 2009.
There's no foul on the play.
No penalty after all. But both schools are so good in everything, and that combined with the proximity, 23 miles apart. When you're good in athletics, you're good in the classroom, a natural rivalry is grown, and you know the competitive fires are stoked.
Well, keep in mind too, Tim, when you say 23 miles apart, so somebody who lives in the Woodlands, Texas, 23 miles is
that's a long way. Sure. Here,
it's not a long way. You and Aaron and I sat in our car yesterday on our way back from Shallowater on an FM road, and probably for 35, 45 seconds, maybe almost a minute, to try to recalibrate phones to get directions. And,
not much of a signal.
And was sitting at a stop sign.
Aaron was going to take us back to
going on
Canyon.
So there's really, when you say that 23 miles, there's nothing but land in between these two communities. So they are very close.
Aaron was the navigator this week for us. She was trying to take us back to West Texas A&M.
Oh, boy.
Relive the good old days. 4th and 2 coming up for Shallowater as we're now under 9 minutes to play. Mustangs with a 35-7 lead. That was the score at halftime as they scored touchdowns on all 5 of their possessions before the break. And on 4th down, the handoff going to Braxton Gerardo, the defensive end, and he is stopped. A turnover on downs.
I like what Coach Wood did there. 4th down. He knew he needed to get the play. He didn't have Brody Hendrick or Zach Aragon carrying the ball. He had Gerardo carrying the ball. And in front of Gerardo is Lee Barker, C.J. Easley. So he had the two linebacker defensive end combo that has been so dominant on defense tonight to try to get that extra push. Gerardo just short of picking up the first down and is turned over now to the Wildcats.
Gerardo played a lot more running back last year for Shallowater. Actually scored a touchdown in this game, but he has settled into a role at defensive end, making play after play here tonight. So Idalou takes over, 8:34 remaining. Colby Gentry, the quarterback, again ducks in under. Mark Cavallero is back in the game. A play fake from Gentry. Gentry looking for a target, spun around, trying to throw it away. Austin Wenzel turning up the heat on Gentry. No flag is down. Let's head back to DFW, looking in on Colleyville Heritage and Aledo. Neil Beasley. Hey, our
first DQ Big Game of the Week should be fantastic. Of course, everybody knows about Aledo, 7-time state champions. They're chasing 8. That's their motto this year. But to start off, they've got a tough one. Colleyville Heritage doesn't have a lot of tradition, a lot of history at Colleyville Heritage, but they do have Joe Willis, state championship winning coach back from his Cedar Park days, now in his 3rd year. And they've kind of gone up each year, and they are looking for that breakout year this year, and it all starts with this game. It's Aledo, Colleyville Heritage. It's coming up. It should be a great one. Back to you.
Neil, thank you. Aledo now with Steve Wood. Of course, Tim Buchanan leading that program for many years. The next star at running back, Jace McClellan, who was a revelation as a freshman last year as the Bearcats won another state title. Caballero on the carry on 2nd and 10 as we approach the 8-minute mark. Speaking of Aledo, Shallowater, led by Brian Wood, as we mentioned now, first year as the head coach. His last head coaching job at Canyon Randall, north of us in the Panhandle. 2 quarterfinal runs in the playoffs stopped by Aledo in 2014 and 2015. And Wood says he never forgot what Steve Wood told him after that game in 2015. There is no one on our schedule who has played harder than your team. Wood said, that's my goal for any team that I coach. And we have certainly seen that from Shallowater in his first game back on the sideline since that loss to Aledo 2 years ago. Now 4th down for Idalou. And will Colby Gentry punt it, or will they just go for it on 4th and 1? Looks like the offense is staying out there. Why not? Jeff Lofton and his team going for it. Gentry trying to sneak it across.
He's got it.
He has it.
Tough run there.
Gentry powering forward to extend the drive.
Ted, on this series, Caballero's back in the game for Rodriguez, who spelled him when he had the cramps, but watched him on a couple of runs in this series, and he just doesn't have that pop that he had earlier in the game.
Caballero is up to 100 yards, 100 exactly on 23 carries, plus a touchdown. But Shallowater has held him in check. He is capable of so much more in this Idalou offense. Faking the handoff to the fullback is Gentry, keeping once more across the 40 to the 42. Luke Duenas and Ryan Eller make the tackle.
Well, Gentry deciding to keep this ball behind the big fullback Rodriguez, and Duenas has just had a monster night tonight, as has this whole defensive front. Ryan Eller there on the stop as well, and tough sledding against this Shallowater defense tonight. Good gain by Gentry, but they need yardage in chunks.
Now 2nd down and 3. The give is to Rodriguez, and he is stopped right near the line of scrimmage. Rodriguez was going nowhere as Garrett Tongate was in there, the starting center on offense, playing inside linebacker now. It's now 3rd and 3. Jeff Lofton in his 5th year with Idalou. 4 straight years with 8 wins or more. Idalou back-to-back undefeated seasons in district play. But down big here in this season opener.
In that circle, you've got Tate, Witten, and Gerardo, 2 of the guys most defensive, and they're running away from him, and it looks like Caballero's going to pick up the 1st down.
Caballero has it, and then some into Shallowater territory. Close to the 48-yard line, Brody Hendrick, the tackle from his safety spot. Idalou needed more of that in the first half. With this offensive line clearing the way on Texas football days. Doing it big here on Fox Sports Southwest. And of course, coming up, the second half of our doubleheader. We'll head to D.W. Rutledge Stadium in the greater San Antonio area. 2 top 10 teams in Class 6A, like Travis and the Judson Rockets. First down, Gentry looking to throw. Under a lot of pressure, and he's slung down. Gentry is ruled down, tried to get rid of it at the last second. Austin Wenzel tugging the uniform, exposing the shoulder pad.
Well, Wenzel unblocked, comes in and just absolutely closes down, and Gentry, all he can try to do is anything to move the ball forward and not take the sack, but Wenzel was on him before he could even get a chance to look downfield for a receiver in his route, and team leader in total tackles last year. Austin Wenzel's got a monster night again tonight, as has most of this Shallowater defense.
Now 2nd and 16 for Idalou. Here's Caballero. Blockers in front and back into Shallowater's end of the field. 8 yards here for Mark Caballero. Tate Whitten on the tackle. Caballero up to 118 yards, but that yardage will feel pretty empty at this point in the game. Shallowater was hoping for good things early. And boy, did they find them offensively in the first half, but just early in this season, Brian Wood needed his team to pile up wins. Gentry trying to hand it off to Rodriguez. Ball popped out, and Gentry just has to fall on top of it, and that'll set up 4th and long. But yeah, Brian Wood wondered, Shea, if they lose this game and they lose the next couple in a tough non-district schedule, could the snowball effect take place? And yet it's the opposite. Now for a team coming off just 2 wins a year ago, a young team, now the belief is ingrained within.
The confidence that all the work that you've been doing since March is paying off and will pay off against good teams. And that's the biggest boost of confidence that you can give any player. Wade Burt there on the stop, and it's linebackers are where they're supposed to be, and they're doing exactly what they need to do to hinder this running game from the Wildcats.
On 4th and 11, Rodriguez didn't have a chance there. Flag is on the field. Our officiating crew with Shallowater up 35-7 in this season opener. Here's the call.
After the play, personal foul number 3, Idalou. At 15 yards under the end of the play, first down.
Salvador Acosta with the personal foul. Now we look back into the history books of Idalou. 1988, this rivalry alive and well. Tracy Saul, the natural at quarterback as well at safety. And Tracy Saul also kicking the extra points. Idalou winning going away 42-20, and Tracy Saul joins us now. Tracy, thanks so much for being with us. What a week it has been here in West Texas, here in Idalou, America. Who knew, right? You're a Southwest Conference Hall of Famer going back to your days at Texas Tech, but it started here at Riddell Field at Idalou, Texas. What does it mean to you to be a part of this special event?
You know, it's a great event, guys, and it's fantastic for Fox Sports to do this here in Idalou. But I've said it many times this week, but what a great community this is. What an honor it is for these families and these kids here in this community, and Shallowater as well. But it's just a great event, and you know, so excited for both these communities.
Tracy, what makes this program, this school, this town so special in your mind?
You know, I think there's some expectations with these kids and these families here in this community. You know, there's an expectation of you know, giving it everything you've got every Friday night and Tuesday night for basketball, and there's expectations of being a good citizen in the community, and I think that's what it is. I think it's expectations, and those people are proud to have those expectations, and they want to live up to them.
Hey, Tracy, how fun was it for you today to get to talk at the pep rally in front of your hometown?
It was awesome, man. When they played the fight song, I was ready to suit up and go play.
Tracy Saul joining us as we take a look at some of his accomplishments just at Idalou in 1988. An 11-1 season. First team All-State at free safety. And, oh, yeah, you scored 31 a game in basketball. First team All-State there. And 5th in the sprint relay and the long jump. 23 feet is what you cleared. I got to hear the story. Speaking of basketball, Tracy, so of course you knew you were going to play football, and you make the decision you're going to Texas Tech, and you tell Coach Spike Dykes that you are headed to Lubbock. What happened on the basketball court that night when you told Coach Dykes you were coming his way?
I think I scored 45 that night, I believe. So I called him actually before the game and told him I was coming, and I think I scored 45 that night. So a lot of fun, man, a lot of fun. But, hey, I tell you what, when you're the tallest guy on the court, it ought to be easy to score 45, right?
Yeah, so you were stationed down low. Were you a low post guy, or are you shooting threes? What were you doing?
Well, we didn't have three-point line back then. So,
okay, yeah,
so it was all twos, but there was a little bit of outside going on there.
There you go. How did you make the jump, Tracy, from Idalou and immediately have an impact at Texas Tech? You had 8 interceptions as a freshman.
You know, I think the biggest thing for me was that I was close to home. You know, so many kids want to get out and get a long ways from home. But I was close to home. I was comfortable from day one being there. Had a lot of great people around me, a lot of great players, a lot of great coaches. Coach Dykes, Carlos Maynard is our defense coordinator and our secondary coach. And just had a lot of great people around me. But I think being comfortable that early on, when so many of those freshmen coming in are having to adjust to being at a different place and doing different things. And I was really fortunate to be comfortable when I got started.
25 interceptions in your career at Tech. Nobody had more in the storied history of the Southwest Conference. 2 years ago, you were inducted into the Southwest Conference Hall of Fame. What did that mean to you?
Man, it meant the world to me, guys. It was, growing up watching Southwest Conference football, that's all I knew, and that's all I wanted to do from the time I was 8 or 9 or 10, watching those games on Saturday afternoons. That's all I wanted to do was play in the Southwest Conference because that was the best football, and I loved every minute of it. And, so it was really special to me to be inducted into that great group, and, so thankful to be a part of that and to be a part of the great teammates and the coaches that we had there at Tech. It was just a great experience.
Tracy, I know you're doing great things in Waco now. It's been so special to have you here, back home for you in Idalou. We thank you for your time.
Hey, thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Tracy Saul, the best athlete that Idalou has ever produced. They're taking in Texas football days. And yes, Idalou on the short end of the stick here tonight in this rivalry matchup to kick off the season. But Idalou's still a special program. 27 straight years of at least a 500 record. Non-losing seasons, 27 in a row. And yeah, Idalou taking it on the chin here, Shea, but I have a feeling that they're going to be just fine.
I can tell you right now, from our time that we've met with Coach Jeff Lofton and talked to members of his staff and the players, he is 100% a bona fide coach, and I mean, he gets you motivated to play. Shallowater came out tonight. They started early, maybe a little bit different than what was expected, but started taking some shots down the field, had some success. But I have no concerns about Jeff Lofton and this Wildcat team because he's a real deal as a coach.
Part of that lineage from Johnny Taylor, who was here 22 years. And, of course, the family connection now with Lofton as Johnny Taylor's son-in-law married his daughter, Jenny. Started dating freshman year in high school in the early 90s. And Johnny Taylor told Jeff Lofton after he asked, mind if I see your daughter? He said, with that signature Johnny Taylor glare, I guess that'd be all right.
Well, it's more of a look is what it was. Look, glare, gleam, something was there, but
it scared Jeff Lofton half to death, as he told us.
He said it's very uncomfortable with the look.
A special place here in Idalou. Final play of this one as Shallowater wraps it up.
And why not with a great defensive play, Ted?
An impressive start to the season and an impressive start to the Brian Wood era for the Mustangs. A 35-7 win over arch rival Idalou here at Riddell Field. Brian Wood picks up career coaching win number 150 in his first game as the head coach of the Shallowater Mustangs. They jumped on Idalou early. 5 touchdowns in 5 possessions in the first half. Cutter Sparks early with the 70-yard strike to Hayden Vanderoost, and it never stopped from there.
Well, it really did. On the second play of the game, Ted, and it was an offensive onslaught and an outstanding disciplined defensive effort by the Mustangs tonight.
Down to Aaron Hardigan with Coach Wood.
Coach is trying to line everyone up here. Hey, you said this one was going to be a tone setter for you guys. What sort of tone did you set tonight?
Well, I think it's a good start because we got a W, and I think the first half it looked really good. You know, we moved the ball well, and then second half got very conservative. Obviously, you're up that much, and you want the clock to run, and it was a quick half, just the way you like it.
You told me this week one of the most potent offensive weapons you have comes from the Wood residence in your son, Kobe. How about his night?
Well, he had a really good end to the first half, but couldn't get him back on the field with all these cramps. But he's my kid, so I trust him, you know.
He's a coach on the field, too, is what I've noticed.
Yeah, he doesn't have a choice. He's lived it since he was able to walk, so he knows it because he's been around it.
That's got to help you as you take over this program, this town. What are you trying to do here in Shallowater?
Well, wouldn't matter whether it was Shallowater or somewhere else. You want to win, and I just happen to have a son that's going to help us do that because, like you said, he's not just a decent player. He's a pretty good coach out there.
And lastly, as I look at this group behind you here, these two teams were a part of the first ever live televised game here in the state of Texas. What does that mean?
Well, it's awesome. I mean, it's kind of a dream come true. When you think about playing on TV, you think about a state championship, and this is far from that. Just a good old high school, small school football game.
We may see you in December.
Well, I hope so.
Hey, thanks so much, Coach. Congrats, Ted.
It starts in September. Certainly did for Shallowater here tonight. A 35-7 win for the Shallowater Mustangs here in Idalou. Kobe Wood, a difference maker as his dad had hoped. What a special night it has been here in West Texas. It's just getting started here on Fox Sports Southwest. Lake Travis and Judson still to come. Now for Shea Walker, Aaron Hardigan, Coach Ken Purcell, and our entire crew, Ted Emmerich saying so long. We head to the studio. Leslie McCaslin and Brad McCoy.
Well, thanks very much as we welcome you back into our Fox Sports Southwest studios. Leslie McCaslin alongside the one and only Brad McCoy. Well, the first of our doubleheader is final, and that is 35-7 Shallowater over Idalou. Maybe a little unexpected, seeing that the Mustangs only won 2 games last year. What'd you see out there tonight?
Well, you know, we talked in pregame. People were saying it was going to be unbalanced the other way, but I really felt like, because I've been involved with Shallowater several times, those kids play hard. And congratulations to Coach Wood and Kobe, and being in a new place and all the pressure was there, bringing a new system and new assistant coaches. My heart goes out to them that it was a successful start in what they had to do, and it was a great game plan. So give them all the props for coming out and doing what they had to do.
They had a lot of ball players, too, out there tonight between Cutter Sparks, Kobe Wood, of course, the coach's son. There were some big highlights from this one, and as we take a look at some of those, I want to know what stood out to you specifically about some of these young, up-and-coming, talented kids.
Well, you know, he's only playing 2 sophomores. That came out tonight, so in a town that size, you usually have to play more sophomores. But, you know, it starts with the quarterback, Cutter Sparks, just very, very accurate, especially throwing on the run. And then he's throwing to some pretty good guys that got some wheels. And so, they've got Kobe Wood to throw to. And, you know, unheralded is look at the line block. I mean, we got some pretty good-looking kids. They're not huge, but they're excited to get out and block somebody, and there's a body on a body all the time, and bodies flying around. Just played hard. I think that's what Coach Wood prided himself in, is that his teams are going to play hard, and they play to the end. So it'll be fun to watch them the rest of this year.
As a native of Lubbock, I can say you can't underestimate the football out there in West Texas. A great game, and the first of our doubleheader, of course, coming up, Lake Travis and Converse Judson. Everybody knows these two names. They are football powerhouses. Of course, Lake Travis has won just 6 state titles recently.
You got that, didn't you?
I did. What do you expect from this one tonight?
Well, again, 2 storied programs. It's amazing that they're getting to match up the first time. And who scheduled this is pretty awesome. But 2 great programs. They'll play hard, too. The towns are really excited about being there. Of course, Converse Judson and the story that they've had throughout all the years. And then the Lake Travis kids, you know, maybe not as long a tradition, but certainly the state titles that they put on the board are there as well.
How much does it go to say for these 2 programs who are so used to winning that just becomes a part of your tradition of what you do? How important is the past and what they're able to do presently?
Well, when you get to that point as a program, it's not about who you play anymore. It's about us. We're going to play our game, do what we do, and so it really ceases to go, you know, what we're trying to do to somebody else. And you've bred into it what you do and how you win and how you play and the emotions of that, and it becomes solely about how you play and how your coaches get you ready.
Well, real quickly, of course, this weekend is not just about football, it's about community. It's about those in South Texas who are dealing with the devastation of Hurricane Harvey. And there have been so many unique stories that have come out of this week. Just real quickly, because this is something we talked about. Your son is one of those who sent a boat down south to help out. Tell us about that.
We know Colt has a boat there in Austin where his permanent home is, and he had some guys calling some of his teammates, notably Jordan Shipley, and said, Colt, we want to go help. We need something. Can we use your boat? And Colt said, the boat's yours. Take off. And so Jordan and a couple other guys that were good friends of Colt took off and have been using his boat all week to I think they started in the Houston area, and they've migrated down the coastline. So, in talking to Colt, he said, I'm glad they can do it, but I'd give anything if I could be there and help with that effort themselves. But he happens to be in Washington, D.C., and they won't let him come.
Well, we will tell you how you can continue to donate and help those out as the games and the show goes on tonight. But right now, it is about football. For those that can play, for those who can't, we are so excited to bring you the second of this doubleheader, this Lake Travis and Converse Judson game tonight in San Antonio. That's where we go now for our second special game right here on Fox Sports Southwest.